Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
This is 11-year NBA veteran Katina Mobley. This is what's trending from iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Staples.
Ryan Jeffers homered in the fifth to help the Twins beat the Brewers 5-4 to avoid the sweep at Target Field. The Sky knocked off the Lynx 86-79 at the Target Center. Kayla McBride led Minnesota with 20 points. NBA playoffs, the Cavs dismantled the Pistons by 31 in Game 7 to reach the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2018. I'm Ron Tomas.
It's Staples' 40th anniversary, and they've got deals worth celebrating. Now through May 23rd, enjoy up to 50% off. Save on paper, chairs, custom print, balloons, and more. 4 decades in business deserves some seriously smart savings. Staples, that was easy.
Homestead Road. Sell your home fast, simple, and stress-free. Go to homesteadroad.com. That's homesteadroad.com.
Have you heard the news? Trump returns from China.
We've made some fantastic trade deals.
Texas carries out its 600th execution since bringing back the death penalty.
Let's really be pro-life and abolish the death penalty in Texas.
On this day, 2.5 centuries ago, our forefathers gathered for the second time in as many years for a national day of fasting and prayer. The resolution of the Continental Congress called on the 13 colonies to humble themselves in preparation for the coming war. The founders were not naive men. They had no guarantees of victory. They knew that what they were trying to do had never been done before in human history. But with the dark storm clouds of war looming on the horizon, they did what Christians have always done, across place and time for 2,000 years. They turned their eyes to heaven and placed their faith in the hands of God. This is who we are. It is who we have always been. America is still a young nation measured against the record of history. And from the beginning, we have carried the belief that our country represents something new in the world. But the soul of our nation has always been rooted in an ancient faith.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was, Secretary Marco Rubio. An incredible Christian message from over the weekend as thousands flocked to the National Mall in Washington for the America-themed prayer rally, the rededication. 2:50, we'll have lots to discuss regarding that here on Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and 103.5 FM. Good morning. My name is John Justice at the studio next door. Sam, good morning, Sam.
Good morning, John.
How are we doing this morning, sir?
I honestly am a little annoyed, but I'm all right.
You are?
Yep.
Why? Why are you annoyed?
All right. Well, we can get into it on the air. Did you see the closed signs for the parking ramp?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So one side is completely closed off.
Okay.
The other side that we normally come into, the sign is there, but it was pushed out of the way.
Right. Because I parked in my regular spot. Was I not supposed to park in my regular spot?
I don't know. That's part of the reason, because I parked right next to you. So
okay.
I guess we'll find out at 9 o'clock.
Was there anybody else?
Yes.
Parked in our parking lot?
There was.
Okay, I feel better then.
I do too. The other thing was I was unsure last week. I confirmed it this morning. Somebody's been drinking my coffee creamer.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. And then just all the little stuff. Like I had to refill the water in the coffee machines. And then to do that, I had to refill the actual water cooler. So it was just a whole bunch of stuff.
So in my defense, not in my defense, but just so you know.
Okay.
I go out of my way to fill up the coffee back there.
I do too.
Okay. Now, I don't go all the way to the top, but usually I do it to the next 3 or 4 people.
Right.
Can go and get, because we're working off these Keurigs right now as they continue with the remodeling here on Twin Cities News Talk. And this is all very, very relevant because I went through, although I'm in a much better mood than apparently you are,
I'm good.
I went through very similar circumstances this morning when I arrived here on Twin Cities News Talk. So as far as the coffee machine goes, even this morning I did, because sometimes when there's 2 different machines over there, and I'm just going to give myself a Monday.
You're fascinating to talk to.
But it's all Sam's fault, so you can just go and blame him.
Yep.
But this is good because I haven't talked all morning long. You could tell the way I was sort of stumbling when I cracked the mic open. I'm like, well, I guess I need to exercise my voice a little bit. So usually I'll fill it up so that somebody can go, and at least the next 2 or 3 people can have their coffee. So obviously some people prior to your arrival went in and took whatever water that I had already refilled.
Got it.
It's funny when you mention the parking lot because as I was pulling in this morning, I saw the same thing. There was the sign there saying, construction taking place, don't park here. But you're right, it was off to the left and it had 2 cones in front of it. So I was like, all right, that's not going to apply. Except for the fact that I drove in and there were no cars in the lot, which is really strange because usually Chris Carr is here, but I think he was in Vegas over the weekend. So the fact that you parked in there and there were other cars parked in there makes me feel much better about the situation as a whole.
I know the cars that some of our iHeart coworkers drive, so I know whose cars were out there and whose weren't, so I feel better that nothing's going to happen.
Okay.
But still, seeing it, and I was like, that uneasy kind of feeling. So, yeah, that's how we're starting today.
Well, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I'm sorry about that.
It's all good, man.
It's all right.
It's, you know what? I made it here on time. I woke up this morning, so there's much bigger things.
Yeah, there are. I'm in the middle of a whole, you'll hear about this on the air within the matter of probably about a week or so, but I'm going through this whole new nutrition program. So completely upended my diet in the most positive of ways starting over the weekend. So the first half of my weekend was fantastic.
That's great.
Because I was allowed to eat whatever I wanted to eat.
There we go. Okay.
And it was amazing around the house because it was probably one of the only times, because I only want to have to go through this once. It was one of the only times where Melinda, my lovely wife, was actually encouraging me to eat and to eat more and suggesting stuff to eat when usually she's going the other direction. So like Friday and Saturday, oh my gosh, dude, I ate so much. Yeah. And so it was too much. It was too much at a lot of points. Went into a food-induced coma for a while. But I got into this new program to help reset my body. As you get older, it's difficult. And it's harder to keep the hours that you keep, and you want to make sure that you are healthy and you're clearing out any brain fog, and that's what I'm doing with this program. And again, you'll hear about this very soon on the show this morning. So I'm only one day into it. We'll see how cranky and hangry I am later on this week. Hopefully, if I do it right, that won't be the case. That's the whole plan. That's the whole plan today. All right. What a time to be alive. We'll talk about this coming up in just a moment. We had this amazing Rededication 250 event that took place in D.C., and we'll talk about this a little bit later on in the hour after our first guest joins us. And it's necessary that we do this. I'll explain why coming up, and I'll share some thoughts and something amazing that President Donald Trump did over the weekend. But this is all going on in the midst of this alien disclosure. You have astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson talking with CNN over the weekend about his thoughts of how the Trump administration should respond to this disclosure. We have some audio to share. And President Donald Trump really stirred the pot yesterday, late in the day, with the post that he put up on Truth Social. So I'll share with you what that post entailed if you haven't seen it yet. And we'll get to your talkbacks as well. Plus, Andrew Langer, president of the Institute for Liberty. He'll, of course, join us for our Monday morning chat. The Supreme Court has put out the final word on the Democrats' attempt to get their gerrymandered Virginia map back. Needless to say, they failed.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's right. As Trump continues to push for the Save America Act, speaking of failures, the Senate continues to fail us on that front. And so we'll talk about that and a host of other issues with Andrew Langer when he joins us just after 6:30 this morning. For those listening on the iHeartRadio app, as I mentioned, leave us a talk back. Those are brought to you by Lindahl Realty, a 30-second message. We'll play those coming up here on Twin Cities News Talk. You can also watch the show as well. We're streaming live now, so you can head on over to YouTube. If you search for John J. Owen Justice, you'll find the link there, or if you're up on X, you'll find the link there as well. So a lot to get to on the show this morning. We'll talk some fraud. We'll talk about the end of the legislative session, what was and was not passed, as the ceremonial closing of the session will take place today. And in the 8 o'clock hour, why it's so difficult to claw back fraudulent dollars here in Minnesota, stolen from you and I. I'll give you the best explanation that I possibly can coming up in the 8 o'clock hour this morning. If you want to email justice@iheartradio.com. Thanks for joining the show this morning. You are listening to Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and 103.5 FM.
Good morning, and I love your show.
John Justice,
Mornings on Minnesota's Morning Home for the Truth. AM 1130, FM 103.5, and on iHeartRadio.
From the Choice Bank Traffic Center.
Good morning. We have no accidents and no delays. Construction closes 394 westbound from Washington to Highway 100 with westbound traffic using the Easy Pass lanes. 394 westbound, the exit to Xenia is closed, and 94 eastbound, the exit ramp to westbound 394 closed. I'm Maria Arnold, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Total Comfort Heating and Cooling.
For 70 years, Total Comfort Heating and Cooling has kept homes comfortable. Now the same trusted team brings that care to your home's electrical, from panels and generators to lighting and other repairs. Visit tcomfort.com for service you can trust.
Voters are listening to the radio, and they're really listening. If you're running for office, radio gets your message heard, not scrolled past. Reach communities everywhere and be on the air in just 48 hours. Go to winwithiheart.com. That's winwithiheart.com.
Settled concrete at your home or business can cause issues like trip hazards, large step heights, and negative drainage. Expert Concrete Raising can help. To learn more and request a free estimate, go to expertconcreteraising.com. That's expertconcreteraising.com.
It's John Justice, and just imagine for a second, I know it's not fun, but just imagine for a second a scenario where your loved ones are facing a threat, or you're facing a threat. Your first instinct might be to go and resort to lethal force, but it is crucial to consider less lethal alternatives. First, to just avoid the legal complications associated typically with firearms. I'm talking about the Byrna Less Lethal Launcher, and now more than ever is the best time to check out and get yourself a Byrna Less Lethal Launcher. Byrna has announced a limited time deal. They want you prepared for the summer. And right now, Byrna is offering 10% off site-wide in honor of Memorial Day. That's right, a massive discount on the Byrna Less Lethal Launcher. Everyone in your family needs a Byrna. Your parents, your children, your significant other. Not everyone is comfortable with the firearm, but everyone can handle a Byrna launcher in order to protect themselves. There are no permits or background checks needed to purchase a Byrna launcher. It can be delivered, and it's legal in all 50 states and delivered directly to your door. The Byrna launcher has powerful deterrence, tear gas, and kinetic rounds with a 60-foot range. One shot can incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes so that you can call authorities and you can get yourself and your loved ones to safety. And again, right now at Byrna.com, 10% off site-wide in honor of Memorial Day. So head on over to the website, byrna.com. That's Byrna.com.
Bad breath is a confidence killer. You could have the best outfit, the funniest jokes, but if your breath smells like the food you just ate, that's all people remember. Most gums and mints just cover it up. It's like spring perfume on dirty laundry. Zellman's Minty Mouth is different. It's the functional breath freshener that you swallow. Clinically tested to fight the toughest offenders, even garlic and onions. Go to Zellmans.com, that's ZELMINS.com, and use the code FRESH for 15% off your first order.
Around here, people still work hard, go to church on Sunday, and mean it when they say God and country. That's where Jesse Eben comes from. 7 generations of Wisconsin roots, raised in the North Woods. Faith, hard work, and love of country. Jessie isn't a career politician. She's a wife, a mom, and a businesswoman who's fought to keep good manufacturing jobs right here in Wisconsin. A Christian conservative who knocked thousands of doors for President Trump, Jessie believes in America first, not as a slogan, but as a way of life. Fiercely pro-life, 100% pro-gun, deport all illegals, no tax hikes, period. Like you, Jessie Eben is sick of the swamp BS. She'll fight to ban politicians from trading stocks and becoming lobbyists. Authentic, one of us, conservative Republican Jessie Eben for Congress. Northwoods PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NorthwoodsAction.com.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250, micro, to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
I'm Michelle McPhee, and in my new podcast,
Kingdom of Fraud. I'm unraveling the strangest criminal alliance I've ever reported on. A polygamist from Utah and an LA Armenian businessman.
$1 billion fraud.
But how long can this alliance last?
Is somebody coming after me?
Search Kingdom of Fraud on iHeartRadio, America's #1 podcast network, and the Webby Podcast Company of the Year.
All right, everybody cares about health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, and so many of us are guessing our way through our health, guessing what foods to eat, what supplements to take, wondering why some things make us feel better than others. Now, that's where Viome comes in. It's a simple, at-home gut health test that uses advanced RNA technology. It analyzes your gut microbiome to understand how your body is truly functioning in this moment. And from there, Viome then creates a personalized food and supplement plan designed specifically for your body. Right, Linda? You've been doing this.
I have been doing it, and the test is easy. It's got great steps. It walks you right through. It's easy to do. You can send it right in.
Take the guesswork out of it. Get real data. Go to VIOME/Hannity. VIOME.com/Hannity today. And when you follow their plan, you can expect better digestion, more energy, improved mood. Stop guessing. Start knowing.
Back to John Justice. Live this morning on Twin Cities News Talk. AM 1130, FM 103.5, and on iHeartRadio.
Good morning, John. This is Chris from New Brighton. I think you might have just had another slip that could be a brilliant new moniker for this great state that we're in. Between the stolen valor of dim walls and the stolen money for all the fraud in this state, I think you said Minnestola. I like it. Let's go with it.
The moment we went to break here on Twin Cities News Talk, that's what Sam said to me. Listen, blame the fact that I hadn't really exercised the voice yet this morning before we started the show today for Minnestola. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
I will give you credit, man. Anytime you have a slip of the tongue,
I know,
Freudian slip or whatever, you always hit a home run with those.
I wish that it was happening when I wasn't technically making an on-air mistake and slurring my words. Right? They just kind of end up. I've been doing that for years. By the way, this when I end up combining words together, that is nothing. That is nothing new, and has nothing to do with my getting older either.
This is for the John Justice Show. Hey, John, Grant from Champlin here.
Hi, Grant.
I heard you're thinking of having a gold statue made or so. You got to be really, really careful, though. Some guy named Midas comes along and says he can have that thing done in 1 minute. Do not go for it.
Yeah, I did a bit of a dive into that whole issue of the golden statue at Trump's golf course in Florida, because we had a foe of the show that made a comment about it on Friday, and I had no idea what he was talking about. And we talked a little bit about this on Friday's show. But just as a side note on that, big deal. Trump likes gold. I mean, look at how he decorates Mar-a-Lago. Look at the decoration and the decor of the White House. The golden statue is him throwing his fist up, and it's at his golf course. Anybody on the left that wants to make an issue about that, you have no room to stand. You don't have a single leg to stand on. In terms of the way that they handle statues they don't like and they tear down, so obviously symbolism is important to them. And then the statues they do erect over individuals that they want to go and honor in some way, shape, or form. And there's no bowing at the feet of this golden statue. The whole controversy was utterly ridiculous. What's not ridiculous, though, and I can't let it go, is the fact that somebody is stealing Sam's creamer. By the way, how do you know they're stealing your creamer?
Oh man, we're really doing this, huh?
Was it a weight thing where you could tell it was?
No, I marked the bottle.
Oh,
I was suspicious, and I was like, I just put a little dot with a Sharpie on one part of the bottle, and came in this morning, and sure enough, there was a little bit missing. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, my dad used to do that with the alcohol bottles when I was younger. And then you just replace it with some water, and then by the time he went to go drink, which he hardly ever did, he'd be like, why is this all watered down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know that trick.
I'm sorry about that. Mark it, dude. Mark it. Put up, don't,
yeah,
you know?
I know. It's one of those things where, I don't care enough to really make a huge deal about it, but I am going to start marking the bottle. I think that's the problem.
So You know what's interesting about that too? Just as a wipe out for a moment.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I think that the assumption is for people, and we'll take some. If you want to leave some talkbacks on this, we'll get to it. We can talk aliens coming up after we get into it with Andrew Langer. So the aliens aren't going anywhere, neither is the disclosure anytime soon. But I think the assumption is in workplaces that if you don't market, it's up for grabs.
That's probably what it is. So that's why I'm not making a huge deal about it, because I haven't been marketing my bottle. But
I don't agree with that, by the way.
What do you mean?
I don't agree with that being the assumption.
Oh, with that, yes.
Yes.
Correct.
You should not have to mark something in the fridge, but I do think that a lot of people, they go, oh, well, there's creamer in here, like it's at home.
Right. And it's weird because the coffee is up for grabs. That's for everybody.
Right.
You get free coffee pods or whatever. So I get it, and we always have like food that's coming in from vendors and stuff like that. So I need to market as my own bottle of coffee creamer. So that's on me.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't
it's
think
one of those things,
Yeah, I don't put it on you at all. I don't. I do think that that's the assumption that people make, but at the same time, if it's not yours, don't use it.
Right. So now once I mark it with my name and all that and the date, if it starts getting used, then I'll make a bigger deal about it.
Okay. All right. Well, you keep me posted on that, right?
I'm sure the world is curious for the episode.
What flavor is it, by the way?
It's what is it? Sweet cream, but it's oat milk because I can't do dairy, so I got to do oat milk, sweet cream, all that.
My wife likes the sweet cream.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the best one.
Yeah. My son does the vanilla. I don't discriminate.
Right.
As long as it's flavored, I do not care.
I'm the same way. That's just my favorite one out of all of them.
We had this whole bit. It wasn't. Okay, let me back up. It wasn't and it wasn't a whole bit. It was me acting dumb at Costco. Let me preface this appropriately.
Oh, what?
So Melinda she was using it for cooking, so she had to buy this huge container of heavy cream.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly this turned into me making it a bit that what if that was a rapper's name? Heavy cream. So now every time it comes up in the house and Melinda says, hey, can you get me the heavy cream? I just bust out with heavy cream. So I
need to get you a sound button on your phone so you do the air horn.
So I was like, oh, you know what? I bet heavy cream is like really good. I had this conversation with her. And she goes, yeah. I go, yeah. She's like, if you want to try some, right? And so I put some into a small container, and then I downed it. Yeah, it wasn't very good because there was no sweetness to it. I was expecting, like, mentally, I was thinking like chocolate shake or vanilla shake, right?
Sure.
That wasn't what it was. It was just literally heavy cream, and there was no sweetness to it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a lot like the rapper Heavy Cream.
All right.
Good morning, John and Sam, Rick in Virginia. When you get Andrew Langer on the phone, please ask him why, given the results of Senator Cassidy out of Louisiana gone, Thomas Massey in Kentucky probably gone, why he does not get John Thune and Lisa Murkowski in a room, and maybe even Senator Collins from Maine, and say, look, guys, this is what's happening to the people that are against the conservative movement. Chuck Schumer's already said what he's going to do if he wins. Get on the program.
Well, this is going to actually be one of the topics that we will be discussing with Andrew Langer next on the show, and I will certainly, Rick, pass your question off to Andrew when he joins us in about 5 minutes from now.
John, I love that slip. Minnesota, kind of in the same vein as Governor Dim Walz. How did that ad campaign go? Is your wallet lower? Come to Minnesota and make it a whole lot more hola.
Wow. John Justice. Mornings on Minnesota's Morning Home for the Truth. AM 1130, FM 103.5, and on iHeartRadio. For more information about contests on the station, go to TwinCitiesNewsTalk.com/rules.
From the Choice Bank Traffic Center.
Good morning. Construction closes 394 westbound from Washington to Highway 100 with westbound traffic using the Easy Pass lanes. 394 westbound, the exit to Xenia is closed, and 94 eastbound, the exit ramp to westbound 394 closed. I'm Maria Arnold, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Gens Ryan Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical. One call, two systems. Gens Ryan's BOGO is back. Buy an AC, get a furnace free. Buy an AC, get a furnace free. Call or visit GensRyan.com today.
Here's another good reason to call JTR Roofing to replace your roof.
They use the right materials for the right reasons. JTR recommends Class 3 and Class 4 asphalt shingles on all their roof replacements. That means you may qualify for discounted homeowners insurance rates. You do have to check with your insurer to see if discounts apply. Start the process by going to roofwithjtr.com.
JTR, JTR, for quality roofing, JTR.
I'm Michelle McPhee, and in my new podcast, Kingdom of Frog, I'm unraveling the strangest criminal alliance I've ever reported on. A polygamist from Utah and an LA Armenian businessman.
$1 billion fraud.
But how long can this alliance last?
Is somebody coming after me?
Search Kingdom of Fraud on iHeartRadio, America's #1 podcast network, and the Webby Podcast Company of the Year.
Guarantee cash offer is the way to go. Just call Chris Lindahl. He'll buy your house today. He'll help you get a fresh start right away. Just call Chris Lindahl with his arms so wide. He'll help you move on fast and keep things simplified. Just call Chris Lindahl. His program is the bomb. Apply for your offer at chrislindahl.com.
Vikings fans, it's time to plan your fall. And nothing says fall like Vikings football. See the Vikings live at US Bank Stadium for an unmatched game day experience. Hear the boom of the drum, the call of the Gallahorn, and the roar of the Skol chant as your Vikings take the field. From NFC North rivals to AFC East matchups and more, every game brings the energy you've got to feel in person. Don't miss a moment of the action. Get tickets now at Vikings.com/tickets. That's Vikings.com/tickets. Skol Vikings.
By May, the year is in full motion. It's a natural time to ask, are you making the progress you hope for? This point in the year offers a valuable opportunity to check in, make adjustments, and build on the momentum you've already created. At Sandvold Financial Group, we help you stay on track with a plan that evolves as life does. Whether it's refining your strategy or reinforcing what's already working, we are here to help you keep moving forward and with purpose. Let's make sure your plan is keeping pace. Call 952-544-2837 or visit sandvoldfinancialgroup.com to connect with our team.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Sandvold Financial Group is in Minnetonka, 952-544-2837, which is separate from Osaic Wealth.
As a business owner, how did the benefit enrollment process go for you last year? At the Canopy Group, we want to enlighten you on how to maximize your employee benefit program. We do this by utilizing an interactive online program that easily automates each individual's enrollment. Through a portal, this program educates your employees so they totally understand their benefit options. Let the Canopy Group eliminate the administrative headache and empower your employees. Call 800-967-3389 or visit thecanopygroup.com.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This report is sponsored by Minnesota United FC. Minnesota United returns to Allianz Field to face off against Real Salt Lake on Saturday, May 23rd at 3:30 p.m. Presented by Toro. Visit MNUFC.com for more information. MNUFC.com.
Twin Cities weather, we could catch an isolated shower or thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, mostly cloudy with a high of 68 in the Twin Cities. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms with some heavy rain, 45. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a high of 57. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130. Right now, it's 57.
This is Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and FM 103.5, an iHeart radio station.
Trump is ushering in the golden age. He's mentioned it multiple times. And eventually, our currency is going to be gold-backed. You're welcome.
you're right. There's also the golden age aspect of it, too. Regarding the statue of Trump with his fist raised in the air. It's the iconic image of when, he was almost assassinated. Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 or 103.5 FM.
Morning, John. Front calling in. Heavy Cream. Band name or racehorse?
I'm going to go band name, but again, I'm going with rapper. Heavy Cream?
Yeah, that's more appropriate.
Yeah. Let's see how quickly that gets old via the talkbacks.
Good morning, John. Great show as always. Say your comments about the mark on the alcohol bottle brought back great memories. I did the same thing, and my dad did the same thing, except my dad would tell me, why would you ruin the rest of my alcohol? Don't do it.
Yeah.
Have a great day, guys.
We also had a lot of suggestions regarding producer Sam and his creamer issue.
No, Sam, don't mark the bottle. Just sacrifice that bottle, put a bunch of laxatives in it, and just leave it there.
No.
And then have your own special bottle that's not full of laxatives that you hide or whatever.
First off,
that's a better way to do it.
That's not a very nice thing to do. Second, how would the individual know that that's what has caused their digestive distress?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would just assume, I must have eaten something I didn't like, or
Right.
so. Yeah, there was a lot of individuals suggesting that. The easier solution is just to put your name on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or just say, quit taking my creamer and drop an expletive on the bottle. You could do that. You could do that as well.
Right.
So, good luck with that. You keep us posted. All right.
Don't worry. I'm on it.
All right. Let's get back up to speed here. Andrew Langer, president of the Institute for Liberty, our regulatory guru, as he joins us every single Monday, will be on with us shortly here on Twin Cities News Talk. We don't have him. We don't have him yet. Okay. I thought we had him.
I'm working on it.
All right.
Happy Monday, everyone. This is Dan from Texas. You have had a really busy show already, talking about parking, Minnestola, stealing creamer.
Hey,
I don't think I've ever seen half an hour filled with
All right, so you can't hear the
so
show
fully with nothing.
Yeah.
Keep it up, guys.
So John is
pulling
live.
Seinfeld.
I'm
this
just
morning.
gonna jump right
It's a
in,
show.
so you'll hear
What's a
it
show
just sort of
about?
cut in right away.
Nothing.
All right, thanks, Andrew.
This is Tom calling from beautiful Naples, Florida.
Oh, hi, Tom.
The issue about the stolen creamer reminded me of a guy that had a watermelon patch, and to stop people from stealing his watermelons, he put a sign out there that said, "One of these watermelons is poisoned." The next day he went there, and there was an addendum to his message. It said, "Now there are two."
Okay. So there you go.
Man, again, I love our listeners. Thank you all for the suggestions.
That's right. That's right. And thank you to everybody who also appreciated the Minnestola slip-up. So I definitely will be incorporating that into the commentary moving forward. Speaking of commentary and moving forward, we do have Andrew Langer, president of the Institute for Liberty. Good morning, Andrew. How are we doing this morning, sir?
We're doing good. High on the celebration of my younger child's graduation from William and Mary over the weekend. So, you take the good with the bad, John. It was a pretty crappy weekend last weekend with my dad passing, but we rolled right into the celebration, and it was a glorious weekend in Williamsburg.
I saw I saw some of the photos online, Andrew, and you've got to be a proud papa. I know how much William and Mary means to you in the years that we've been talking. And the moment I saw that, I went, "Oh, he must be absolutely beaming right now." So congrats on that, my friend.
I bleed green and gold. My wife as well. My wife also is a William and Mary alumna, and so yeah, it was great to be on campus. And I got to tell you, just real quick.
Yeah.
The noted political scientist Francis Fukuyama spoke on on Friday at the actual commencement, and it was a really interesting speech. Everybody is concerned about the collapse of institutions and the coarsening of our rhetoric. And obviously, for me, this is something I think a great deal about, and about how, there seems to be a real asymmetry, that this idea of listening more, is vital to me, and that was part of what Frank Fukuyama had to say.
Let's get right into it. I had a talkback that actually rolled in before we brought you on this morning, Andrew Langer, here on Twin Cities News Talk. We'll get to it in just a second, but it's along the same lines as a topic that we were going to dive into. Louisiana Republicans voted to oust Senator Bill Cassidy on Sunday, rejecting the incumbent who voted to convict President Donald Trump on impeachment charges. In the article from the Daily Wire, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Andrew, because I was kind of annoyed by this. It said Cassidy's fall from grace is another sign of Trump's enduring grip on the Republican base as the president continues flexing his political clout to target GOP lawmakers he views as disloyal to his agenda. Is this different? How is this any different from past Republican presidents and then those congressional Republicans in similar circumstances that may not have been aligning with that president's views? Like, is Trump really all that different from past Republican presidents, or is this unique to Trump? What's your thought?
No, I mean, listen, I think there are two things that can be true simultaneously. I think, presidents not wanting or wanting to push out legislators who don't follow their agenda, that's nothing new. And in point of fact, we can't be shocked when the voters step up there and do what we've long been saying that voters ought to do, right? There's a long bit of political science history in which people are decrying the fact that it's so difficult to oust incumbents, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Well, okay, so then you can't then decry it when an incumbent gets ousted, especially a U.S. senator. And, senators' terms are so long. I can come back to that and the 17th Amendment issue. That being said, we do have a problem in a White House which tends to treat any bit of criticism as disloyalty. But again, it's nothing new insofar as we know that Democrats have long felt this way. So I find it very funny when Democrats are sort of talking about their concerns about the vindictive, petty nature of this presidency, when Joe Biden and Barack Obama were two of the most petty and vindictive presidents in modern history.
Let's get to the talkback. We played this a little earlier, but I'll allow Rick in Virginia to ask the question to Andrew Langer directly up in your neck of the woods.
Good morning, John and Sam. Rick in Virginia. When you get Andrew Langer on the phone, please ask him why, given the results of Senator Cassidy out of Louisiana gone, Thomas Massey in Kentucky probably gone, why he does not get John Thune and Lisa Murkowski in a room, and maybe even Senator Collins from Maine, and say, look, guys, this is what's happening to the people that are against the conservative movement. Chuck Schumer's already said what he's going to do if he wins. Get on the program.
Well, and Andrew, this is actually combining a couple of different things that I wanted to talk about this morning. So let's go ahead and address what Rick in Virginia had to say. And I'll just add to this, Trump over the weekend renewed his push for the Save America Act. He's urging Congress to attach the Election Security Measure to pending House and Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act legislation, alleging widespread problems within mail-in voting. At some point, one of the parties is going to pull the trigger on the filibuster, and I don't know how much more evidence we need, provided with what the Democrats would do were they to be handed power again. So I'll kind of now hand everything over to you, and you can share your thoughts here, Andrew.
Listen, here's the reality. The reality is there was a time at which you might be able to implore I'm going to even say the more craven political natures of folks and sort of try to work to get leaders to actually, lead in these kinds of situations. The problem is that, everybody now has the microphone and the access to the camera. And so every politician or every senator, I should say, even, let's get more specific, is now a statesman in a way that they weren't before. And so it makes it much, much more difficult to get them to perhaps see the bigger picture when it comes to politics here. Here's the thing. That was all said and done, what Rick is talking about. Back when the president in his first term got Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and maybe a handful of other Democrat leaders into a room to try to find some compromise on the transportation bill. And yeah, I get it. Thune and Collins, et cetera, Murkowski, they're all Republicans, so maybe it should be better for them or easier to get them to do these things. But I think that the time has passed, for us to be able to appeal to their political natures in these things.
Let's go back to voters deciding the fate of Bill Cassidy, who voted to convict Trump. There's also, looking at a piece here from the Daily Wire, Trump threatening to primary challenge Lauren Boebert as well, the representative, after she went out on the campaign trail to support Thomas Massie, who's also embattled. What are your thoughts on this? And I guess this kind of corresponds with what we were talking about when we first started chatting this morning.
But listen, I mean, Lord knows, again, Lauren, it's not like Lauren Boebert in the same way that Marjorie Taylor Greene has a certain, shall we say, viewpoint of her own importance in all of these things. This is kind of the reality of where we are. If I'm Trump, I would just let Lauren Boebert be Lauren Boebert. If she wants to go and support Thomas Massie, if Thomas Massie wants Lauren Boebert's support, more power to them. At the end of the day, the focus, I think, should be on maybe, I don't know, making sure that we're bringing people in and making sure that they're following the overall policy agenda, as opposed to the individual endorsements that they're making in these races.
Let's go back to the iHeart Radio app. We talk with Andrew Langer this morning, president of the Institute for Liberty.
I don't know why they keep saying, let's get rid of the filibuster. It doesn't make any sense, because they're not getting rid of the filibuster. They're just saying you actually have to filibuster, get off your butt and filibuster, instead of just say, well, we're thinking about it, or we're not going to vote your way. Oh, gee, don't have the 60 votes, too bad.
I don't know. JD here is kind of implying this is semantics. Do you agree, though? I tend to not agree with JD's assessment here.
I think there's there are lots of different versions of this out there, and there's one version of in which they do have a rule that you actually have to filibuster in the way that, Mr. Smith goes to Washington, where he's standing on the floor and talking. But there is the other, which is to just get rid of it to expand the circumstances in which you just need a simple majority to have the vote. And that's a lot of what people are talking about, rather than the simple rule change here to sort of make sure that these agendas get done. Here's the interesting thing, right? I mean, I didn't even put this up in the show prep, John, but there are other aspects of the show prep. Other aspects of the legislative policy agenda that we ought to be looking at. And one of them is dealing with these issues of apportionment and redistricting. One of the simple fixes that we could be making, and you could do it administratively, though it would be better if Congress would do it, is simply say that legislative apportionment is only done based upon actual citizens within a particular legislative district. And that would require putting a citizenship question on a census form. Why we're not asking our members of Congress to do that, and we could do it in reconciliation, because at the end of the day, so much of the federal expenditures hinge upon that apportionment issue. Anyway, that's the kind of thing we ought to be talking about.
I tend to agree with you. I like what you're laying out. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the panache. It doesn't have the flash that one side or the other can go and take advantage of. Like, it almost makes too much sense for it to actually be something that a Republican, or heaven forbid, a Democrat moves forward on.
To quote Lothar of the Hill People, it is a good idea, but it is a new idea, and therefore we must fear it.
Nicely done.
I am Lothar of the Hill People. Much I have seen.
That's your podcast one title. Lothar of the Hill People. Speaking of redistricting, from the Daily Wire, Virginia Democrats did find out the Supreme Court is in no mood for election do-overs in a decision that would ripple far beyond the Commonwealth. The United States Supreme Court slammed the brakes on the Democrat-backed effort to redraw Virginia's congressional map ahead of the midterms, and they did it without a single justice publicly objecting. No fiery dissents, no dramatic explanation, just a quiet little order that dropped like a hammer.
Right. You know, it's so funny. This was the big story, and of course I was otherwise, my attention was otherwise directed. You know, here's the thing, right? Obviously, it's massive news in terms of putting an end to the shenanigans in Virginia. And let's be really clear about this, folks. For if you don't understand what happened, what Virginia did was all under Virginia state law. Yes, it had to do with congressional elections. But Virginia violated its own law and its own constitution, and therefore the Supreme Court had no role in it, had no say in it. By the way, in case you missed it, John, not only did Jay Jones, the relatively newly elected Attorney General of Virginia, spell Virginia wrong in his original briefs, in their petition to the U.S. Supreme Court, he actually petitioned the Supreme Court of Virginia. So, you know, this guy is not too bright. And of course, he did go to William and Mary Law School, so we'll set that aside for a minute.
We'll just ignore that little data point.
You know, here's the thing. This maybe I'm reading too much into this, but it was always my opinion that for the Democrats to push this to the U.S. Supreme Court was never. They knew that they were not going to win. You know, for all kinds of reasons. We can make it the political of the Supreme Court, and obviously this was an unsigned order. But what they really want to do is they wanted to use this next step as a further way of delegitimizing the United States Supreme Court. It's another rallying cry that they will have for the midterms as a way to take over the Senate, and then, you know, hold on to the Senate, you know, if they can get a Democrat elected in 2028, and therefore remake the Supreme Court entirely.
I know we didn't have this in our exchange this morning, and this is a holdover from Friday. I did want to bring it up though and get your thoughts, Andrew Langer. Senators did vote unanimously last week on Thursday to pass a resolution suspending their own pay during government shutdowns, aiming to impose financial consequences on lawmakers following a series of unprecedented stalemates over the past year. Listen, praise God for small victories of accountability.
Right.
It isn't much, but it's interesting.
You know, kudos goes to whoever the staffer was on the Hill who marched that down the field. I mean, it really is, you know, good optics. It's good politics, and policy-wise, it's the right thing to do. So I'm very pleased that they've gone down this road. And maybe once again, I don't have to talk about repealing the 17th Amendment, which is the direct election of senators amendment to the Constitution, which I think is part of what helped to hasten the decline of the Republic.
Last item this morning, and the media seems to be, at least in my view, whether it's the issue of the Save America Act, which they've largely moved off of, but then again, there hasn't been a lot going on in Congress about it, but also Operation Epic Fury and what's going on with Iran. There was a story that was relevant, especially relating to the gas prices. Hackers believed to be linked with Iran may have breached computerized fuel monitoring systems used at gas stations across the U.S. This is according to a CNN report that was published on Friday. That being said, they've been doing this for a long time. When you get into the story, you go back to 2016, and there have been Iranian hackers tied to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps that have been attempting similar moves. So while this, you know, is somewhat tied to the ongoing conflict, there is precedent that Iran's been doing this for a while. That being said, though, Andrew, Trump did warn again on Sunday that Iran would be hit much harder militarily if they did not return quickly with a better offer to end the war. And the media seems to be largely bored with what's going on over there. In the meantime, Trump is still holding out to try to keep them from developing a nuclear weapon. At this point, I don't know where all of this goes and how much longer this is going to take, but they need to wrap it up quickly as the midterms are rapidly approaching.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, obviously they need to do that. We need to start to get gas prices back on the downward trajectory. But the reality is, right, with Cuba ran out of oil last week, apparently. Apparently the last ship to leave before the war started finally got into the port of California. I think I saw that that going out there. If gas prices remain stable here at home, knock wood, seriously knocking wood.
Yeah.
It is, this thing can slog on a bit. If gas prices continue to go up or they start going up again, that certainly gives it a greater sense of urgency. But yeah, the reality is there's no big story here. Ergo, the media's bored with it and they're going to ignore it.
Andrew Langer, what else have you been involved in other than beaming over your recent graduate?
Yeah, so listen, stay tuned to my social media because there's going to be some news coming in the next month or so about the work that I'm doing. At Andrew_Langer on X, brand new episode of the Federal Newswire's Lunch Hour goes up today, and I don't remember who I'm interviewing. But that goes up. In fact, I gotta get on that stick. Get some more recordings in the hopper. But yeah, check it out at Andrew_Langer on X.
Last thing, are you going to go see Mandalorian and Grogu this week?
Not this week, no. But relatively soon. We are taking a celebratory trip to New York this weekend for graduation. Yeah. So we're going to see Daniel Radcliffe in Every Brilliant Thing once again. His last performance is next Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And so we're excited. If I didn't talk about this before,
you did.
This is Daniel Radcliffe's one-man show.
Yeah, you raved about it.
Massive audience participation. Yeah. So with my dad dying a week ago Friday, I'm going to be an utter mess during this thing. So.
Well, have a good time. I'll give you my spoiler-free review when we talk next week on Monday of The Mandalorian and Grogu, of which...
Wait, are you doing a show on Memorial Day?
I'm sorry. I guess we'll probably talk the week after. You're right. I'm off on Monday.
Or we can talk Tuesday if you need me to.
Let's plan on talking Tuesday. Sounds good, buddy. Sounds good.
Take care.
Thanks for the time this morning, buddy. Andrew Langer, president of the Institute for Liberty. What are you laughing about in there? Sam's over there chuckling away.
Just making myself laugh.
All right. You're sucking down more of your creamer. It's all hopped up on sugar in there.
What's left anyway?
All right. Coming up, astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson said on Sunday that if the federal government truly possesses evidence of extraterrestrial life, officials should stop hinting about it and publicly reveal it. He cautions against assuming aliens would resemble humans, highlighting the vast diversity of life on Earth. Yeah, man, just look at Project Hail Mary and Rocky, for crying out loud. He's on to something. Listen, he has to go and have a hot take. He gets invited on these shows. And so he has to have some sort of take, and this is Neil deGrasse Tyson's take. In the meantime, President Trump yesterday posted a picture of himself and an alien walking along the tarmac at a military base. Everybody's sort of speculating on what that means, so I'll share with you my thoughts. We'll talk a bit about the thousands flocking to the National Mall, rededicate to 250, Republican speakers, evangelical leaders, why this is important. And then we will get into what took place over the weekend with the end of the legislative session, what was passed and what wasn't passed. We'll get to your comments as well from the iHeartRadio app here on Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and 103.5 FM.
John Justice, mornings on Minnesota's Morning Home for the Truth, AM 1130, FM 103.5, and on iHeartRadio.
We report, you decide. Your Fox News update is on Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Trump says the clock is ticking for Iran, urging them to come to the table before it's too late, with Trump and Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly weighing resuming military action on the regime.
The president's post comes as reports indicate the Iranians have submitted a revised proposal to Pakistani mediators aimed at addressing some of the gaps in their previous response that President Trump described as a piece of garbage.
Fox's Trey Yings, millions of Americans across the central U.S. will see some severe weather conditions to start the week.
Heavy rain, strong winds, large hail, and tornadoes are all possible. At least one large tornado has already destroyed several buildings in Nebraska. Thousands there are also without power. And severe storms are expected to stretch over 1,000 miles from Texas to Michigan.
And that is Fox's Marianne Rafferty. America's listening to Fox News.
Bad breath is a confidence killer. You could have the best outfit, the funniest jokes, but if your breath smells like the food you just ate, that's all people remember. Most gums and mints just cover it up. It's like spraying perfume on dirty laundry. Zellman's Minty Mouth is different. It's the functional breath freshener that you swallow. Clinically tested to fight the toughest offenders, even garlic and onions. Go to Zellmans.com, that's ZELMINS.com, and use the code FRESH for 15% off your first order.
Spring is sprung, and big savings are in full bloom at Menards. Visit Menards Garden Center for everything you need to get your garden growing. Choose from hundreds of beautiful, colorful flowers, lush trees and shrubs, and everything in between. Menards Garden Center is back in bloom. Stop in today to get your garden on. Check out fresh deals happening now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Are you ready to downsize but your home needs repairs? Homestead Road makes selling your home easy, regardless of its condition. They buy homes as is with no repairs, no cleaning, and no showings or realtor fees. Pack what matters most and leave the rest. They'll take care of it. Not having to deal with a home's problems makes moving forward easy. For a personalized consultation, call Homestead Road at 612-662-1717 and feel the joy of selling stress-free.
Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply in Minnetonka takes pride in their Midwestern roots and also in the quality of beef they offer their customers. That's why Northern Fire is excited to carry delicious Midwestern Wagyu beef from Feathers Ranch, Minnesota and South Dakota raised, dry aged, crazy marbling on premium beef cuts that Feathers delivers fresh to Northern Fire, Midwestern Wagyu with a local story. That's Feathers Ranch, and you can find it at Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply in Minnetonka. NorthernFireBarbecue.com.
KTLK, Minneapolis and St. Paul, an iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human. Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and FM 103.5.
I want my heavy cream, my heavy cream. Oh, gimme, gimme, gimme my heavy cream. Okay, I'm not awake yet. Have a great day. Love the show. Bye-bye.
I texted Melinda. Just a, good morning and I love you. We do that. And she writes back, good morning, love you too. What happened with Sam's Creamer? What time was it? I missed the first part.
Well, Melinda, I will have the podcast posted in a little bit.
Done. I've trained you well, my young Padawan here on Twin Cities News Talk at AM 1130 and 103.5 FM. Sweet cream, honey, sweet cream. She's asking me again what. And I mentioned earlier that's the kind that she enjoys as well. I would like, we're going to talk about relevant issues. We'll move off of the Seinfeld aspect of a show about nothing here fast enough on a Monday morning. I am curious, though, because we didn't get any responses on this. I am curious if that is what people believe. So just a quick story is somebody has been using Sam's Creamer in the iHeart fridge here. So he marked the bottle because he suspected, I'm just speaking for Sam, he suspected that somebody was drinking it and somebody was.
Yep.
Was there any left this morning when you went? There was enough for you to take. Okay, so they at least were kind enough to leave you enough to. So in the discussion we had earlier, and I would like to hear from you, and you can leave a talkback or drop an email, justice@iHeartRadio.com. But the assumption is that if you don't mark the bottle, that people think that it's fair game to take.
Right.
Whereas if it's marked, then you don't take it. And again, I don't agree with that view and assumption, but that's what I think happens in circumstances like this.
Yes, and again, because we have the community coffee that's free for everybody, I'm not going to necessarily blame somebody who didn't know.
Oh, yeah, there's that too.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. You're right. Because we also have the community coffee going on, in which case we're provided with all of these Keurigs and different flavors. Somebody, because it's not marked, just assumes, oh, we have free coffee and they left us free creamer.
Exactly.
Okay. I would like to hear your thoughts, though, via the TalkBack on the iHeartRadio app. And you can send in your donations of sweet cream for Sam. We'll give you the address later
I'll start a GoFundMe.
There you go. So astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson said on Sunday the federal government, if they truly possess the evidence of ETs, they should stop hinting at it and publicly reveal it. He was talking with host Dana Bash, noting that the congressional hearings in recent years featured testimony from whistleblowers, military officers, intelligence officials alleging the government recovered alien materials in reverse engineered technology. Tyson went on to say, given the testimonies we've heard in front of Congress in 23, 24, 25, whistleblowers, insiders, military officials, ex-military, ex-intelligence officers, it's no longer just the farmer in the back 40. He says, still, extraordinary claims require direct proof. We're long past having to require that aliens are something you believe in based on testimony and fuzzy videos. Let's just bring out the alien and get it over with. He emphasized that the skepticism is rooted in science, not dismissal of the possibility of alien life. And his response isn't surprising, as I mentioned. He's invited on these shows. He has to have a hot take, and he gives his hot take. I personally understand the slow rollout on all of this. Trump yesterday posted an AI-generated image on Truth Social showing himself walking with a gray alien in restraints alongside security personnel of what appears to be a military base. And we'll, of course, talk AI with David Gartensteiner-Ross on tomorrow's show at just after 6:30. It's funny, though, because you could immediately tell that it was an AI picture because the restraints on the alien walking next to Trump in the photo, like they weren't complete. Like they went from one arm and then they kind of disappeared into nowhere. Made me laugh a bit. It's easy to file this under, however, writes a Holden DeSalle. He writes for Thought Catalog, saying it's easy to file this under another Trump AI meme in the same lane as an image of the Pope, right? Mandalorian edit, the Jesus post he later deleted. But the stack of moves, he writes, around this issue is the actual story. So in February, Trump, of course, directed federal agencies to review and release the government files on UFOs, UAP, and extraterrestrial life, citing tremendous interest. On May 8th, the Pentagon released its first batch of declassified files, videos, and reports on UAPs. Trump said on Truth Social for people to review them, decide for themselves, have fun with it. 9 days later, he posts this alien image. Now, what's also interesting about this, too, is that his daughter-in-law has now got in on the action, too. Speaking on the Pod Force One podcast, Laura Trump said the president has a speech prepared on the subject and is waiting for the right time to give it, saying we've kind of asked my father-in-law about this. We all want to know about the UFOs, and he played a little coy with us. She said, I've heard kind of around that I think my father-in-law has actually said that there is a speech that he has that I guess at the right time, I don't know when the right time is, he's going to break out and talk about, and it has to do with some sort of extraterrestrial life. Now, we know Obama recently walked back comments from a podcast with Brian Tyler Cohen that went viral after he appeared to confirm the existence of aliens, only for that to gain attention, and then again, Obama backtracking on it. Congress has kept the pressure up, too. A 2023 House hearing featured testimony from a former military intelligence officer, David Grush, who alleged the government runs a multi-decade program to reverse engineer non-human technology recovered from crash sites. The Pentagon denies the claim. Now, the image itself, writes Holden DeSalle, is satire, but the stack around it isn't. A presidential directive, the Pentagon file release, an Obama viral clip, daughter-in-law floating a speech, and now the president himself posting alien content on his own platform. The announcement, he says, is being teed up. And going back to what Neil deGrasse Tyson said, I understand the slow rollout. To expose and just disclose it all at once would be really kind of foolish. We've certainly gone a lot further than we ever have with regard to disclosure, and I'm excited to see what else they will reveal. Let me share this with you, because a former Israeli space security chief claims that aliens exist, and he went on to say in an interview, and this is a little bit older, on NBC, saying that Trump actually is aware of this as well.
Aliens exist, and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years, not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Now, this former head of a branch of Israel's defense ministry is 87. He was very well respected, at least until now. And he said all this in an interview with an Israeli newspaper in Hebrew, but it's really taken off after parts of it were published in English by the Jerusalem Post today. He says he's come forward now in the hope that his news will be accepted as true. He notes that if he'd made these claims 5 years ago, he would have been hospitalized, but now he says, I've got nothing to lose. Well, so far, President Trump has not tweeted about this, though remember a year ago, he did set up the Space Force as the fifth branch of the US Armed Forces. Well, we did ask the White House, the Department of Defense, and Israeli officials to comment. So far, they have not responded to the NBC News request, and I wonder if they ever will.
And again, that was a former Israeli official saying that Trump is actually aware of the truth regarding the existence of extraterrestrials, or however you want to go and label the beings. Can I just back up for a moment and say, and I mentioned this briefly earlier, but what a time to be alive right now. There's a lot to keep up with, but holy cow, it's pretty incredible. On the one hand, you have all this talk of alien disclosure and the potential of more videos, some 46 of them released later this week. And then over the weekend, you have thousands flocking to the National Mall. A prayer rally celebrating America's Christian heritage. Prominent Republican speakers, evangelical leaders organized by Freedom 250, emphasizing the nation's founding as a Christian nation, a narrative disputed by many historians, progressive groups, staged counter-programming, I'll give you details on this coming up, advocating for a separation of church and state, which clearly the protesters every single Sunday at the city's church don't agree with. So we'll get into some of this. I have audio to share of President Donald Trump coming up in just a moment here on Twin Cities News Talk.
You know, I know we said it before, but it's gotta bear repeating. Why is Neil deGrasse Tyson such a buzzkill?
Right?
It's just not right.
Yeah, I completely agree. He is a buzzkill. Let's have a little bit more fun with this. I did get several responses, so we are going to have to continue to address the issue of Sam and the coffee creamer coming up, because I got some really good talkbacks that rolled in before we talk about the rededication 250 and those offering up prayer and celebrating America's Christian heritage. And so we'll get to that coming up on Twin Cities News Talk. Also, a little crossing of the streams, some theories, conspiracies regarding who in the building might be stealing Sam's creamer.
Good morning, Sam and John Justice. We know who it is already because the Power Trip Morning Show, we know who it is. You should get comment on that to figure this out for you, but we're sure it is meat sauce. Okay. Meat sauce is the culprit. Thank you.
Okay, in Sauce's defense, I often see him getting a cup of coffee when I'm getting a cup of coffee, and I have never seen him use creamer. So it might be, but I am not going to go and accuse anyone without evidence at all. And like I said, I've I see. Actually, that's pretty much the only time I see Sauce is over by the coffee machine, and I've never seen him get creamer before. So I just want to kind of clear his name for right now. Sam, do you have any further thoughts? Do you care that much about this at all? Has this become a much bigger issue than you ever anticipated this morning?
A little bit of that, but I'll text Common and just see what he says. He's going to say, who's this?
Yeah, he's going to be like, what? What are you talking about? All right. We got a lot to get into. Short time to get there. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and 103.5 FM.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Wow.
John Justice. Mornings on Minnesota's Morning Home for the Truth. AM 1130, FM 103.5, and on iHeartRadio.
From the Choice Bank Traffic Center.
Good morning. We have delays 94 westbound from Hennepin-Lyndale to 394. 94 eastbound slow from Highway 610 to Maple Grove Parkway. 394 slow eastbound from Dunwoody to 94. 35W delays northbound from Burnsville Parkway to Highway 13. I'm Maria Arnold, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Grand Casino. Relive the TRL days with Chris Kirkpatrick of NSYNC, O-Town, Ryan Cabrera, and LFO. Together for one night of early 2000s pop at Grand Casino Mille Lacs on Saturday, June 6th. Tickets for the Pop 2000 tour are on sale now at GrandCasinoMN.com.
Retirement isn't something you figure out all at once. It's built over time through thoughtful planning and informed decisions along the way. At Sandvold Financial Group, we help you bring all the pieces together for your investments, your income strategy, and your goals, and it comes into a clear, cohesive plan. Because when everything is working in sync, your future becomes a lot easier to see. And with the right guidance, you can move forward knowing each step has purpose behind it. To start building that clarity, give us a call at 952-544-2837 or learn more online at sandvoldfinancialgroup.com. It's sandvoldfinancialgroup.com.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Sandvold Financial Group is in Minnetonka, 952-544-2837, which is separate from Osaic Wealth.
So many people are living every day with pain that they just think they're stuck with it. It is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. I want to tell you about a letter I got from Oregon, a guy named George, and his Relief Factor story. George, hardworking guy, spends 10 hours a day in a garbage truck. Tough job, made even tougher because he's dealing with a sore right knee that just wouldn't bend. But here's the amazing part. George started taking Relief Factor, and it changed his life. And he said in his letter to me, and I quote, "I can bend my knee again with very little pain." I can relate to George. There was a time when I wondered if I could continue working because my pain was so bad. If you're living with aches and pains, see how Relief Factor, a daily drug-free supplement, can help you feel and live better every day. Give their 3-week quick start a try, $19.95. A few weeks, even days, you'll feel the difference that Relief Factor can make in your life. You don't have to be stuck living with the pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800-4-RELIEF.
Save big money on everything for your next staining project when you shop at Menards. Transform your deck in one weekend with Cabot Heat Reducing Stain and Sealer. With its cool feel technology, it deflects the sun's heat and reduces surface temperature by 20 degrees, allowing you to enjoy your deck all summer long. Save big money on Cabot premium wood care products. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com and get your project started today.
Save big money at Menards.
It's John Justice, and for over 30 years, Ben and Marv have been Minnesota's experts for tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding. A-plus Better Business Bureau rated. They do the work themselves, no middlemen. Call 651-493-3110 or visit bandmtree.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. What's the most popular door in Minnesota? It's the patio door. Call Window World to get a no-pressure quote on a beautiful new patio door at a great price.
Window World, simply the best for less.
This report is sponsored by Metro State University. Discover what a Metro State University degree can do for you at their in-person open house event. Visit the St. Paul campus to learn about bachelor's programs on May 19th. Sign up at metrostate.edu/open house.
Yacht Rock Radio on iHeartRadio drops anchor and goes commercial-free every weekend. Weekends were made for smooth sailing. Yacht Rock Radio's got the soundtrack. Just sit back, put your feet up, and enjoy. The smoothest soft rock from the 70s and 80s. Open the free iHeart app, search Yacht Rock, and set sail.
iHeartRadio.
The Canopy Group offers 16 different insurance companies. Learn more at thecanopygroup.com.
Have you heard the news? Trump returns from China.
We've made some fantastic trade deals.
Texas carries out its 600th execution since bringing back the death penalty.
Let's really be pro-life and abolish the death penalty in Texas.
24 hours a day, every day of the year. We're here with the latest forecast at the top and bottom of every hour. Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and 103.5 FM.
Good morning, John. Great show. I think it's aliens stealing the coffee creamer.
Yeah, there you go. It's the Grays taking your heavy cream.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yes, Neil deGrasse Tyson is a buzzkill. He also is a genius astrophysicist and an idiot on everything else. If you've ever listened to him on podcasts and they stray off topic into anything normal, he is a moron, man. He believes in the expert class 100%, and he uses the shield of it's the science with anything and everything he possibly can. I can't trust him with anything.
That is a great point, Adam, and one that probably doesn't get discussed enough because there's a lot of people like that. Yeah, Bill Nye the Science Guy is probably the next one on the list where I'll give, I know the whole global warming, climate change stuff aside, he knows his science, but much like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's an idiot on everything else. And so this is a trend that happens quite often, especially when you have somebody who is so singularly an expert on one issue that requires, a lot of educational background and just, really comprehensive thought. Often when it comes to the ancillary things or anything outside of that, they're just, for the most part, dumb as a box of rocks. I don't think either of them would go and steal your creamer, though.
I doubt it, no.
And I don't think the people that are, whoever's taking your creamer, again, they mean any harm. I think you probably hit the nail on the head, and that is with the community coffee that we have, people just assumed that your sweet cream creamer was fair game. I did get a lot of responses, though, from people.
I saw that.
So let's go ahead and share a few thoughts, because I'm curious what the protocol is in your office space. Whether or not, if something isn't marked in the refrigerator, like a creamer or any condiment for that matter, is that open and fair game?
The one thing I will say, and meat sauce was brought up as the culprit. The thing is, I'm out of here at 9 o'clock every morning, so it could be anybody who's here throughout the day. It could be our sales team, our management team, any of the on-air people. So everybody is a suspect right now.
It actually, the on-air staff here at iHeart Minneapolis uses the coffee least of the staff here because it's actually located in the sales department. There's a lot more people back there than there are.
I'm going to put up my corkboard and start putting up pictures of people. Here we go.
So here at our office, I have a drawer. I always keep my stuff in one of the drawers. And I had some cheese sticks, and they were all eaten, and somebody replaced them with some really crappy cheese sticks. Wow. I no longer am using that fridge. I now have a little mini fridge in my office because I'm not sharing. Keep your hands off my stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
I buy the good stuff for a reason.
I don't know what I would be more upset at. One, somebody eating my food, in this case, especially cheese sticks, or two, eating them and then replacing them with a lesser brand.
Yeah, that's
of
more
cheese
annoying
sticks
to me.
Well, there's an admission there. It's like, yeah, I know I stole it, but I'm going to replace it. I'm just not going to spend as much money as you did. Wow, I'm so territorial. Oh my gosh. I would be upset if that happened in our house. I get yelled at when I take the last of the deli meat. You know, I'm usually the first individual that gets blamed. Why is there no, where'd all the pepperoni go, Dad? Especially when Logan wants to go and make a pizza.
Morning, John and Sam. Sam, you're being way too kind to the coffee creamer thief. The only time they're going to get provided any kind of creamer for free is the big pump things that have all the chemicals and everything in it. You have this nice oat milk one. It's very specialized. Whoever is taking your creamer, they're either not bright at all or they're just taking it because they want to use it. Have a great day.
So what do you think the over-under is that your creamer thief actually listens to the show? Even if they don't, what's the over-under that this segment is actually going out live on the overhead speakers as they transition through the radio stations out throughout the entire 5th floor here in St. Louis Park?
Somebody's walking in and be like, I feel like they're talking about me. What station is that?
I can see the future. And I predict by Thursday, you are going to be inundated with sweet creamer in the fridge. You're going to have so much in there that you won't know what to do with it. That's what I expect.
Oh, no, not that.
Yeah, that's what I expect is going to happen. Because if somebody got mad, that's how. Okay, let me put it this way. This is what I would do. Like if let's just say for the sake of argument, right, that I was the culprit, of which I am not. I add no creamer to my coffee.
We haven't ruled you out yet, but okay.
I add no creamer to my coffee. Okay. Well, that really would have been uncomfortable if I was the one that had been taking it this whole time, right? And it would be just sneaky enough for me to say it's got to be somebody else, but like if I did that and had no idea that it was somebody else's, I legitimately assumed that I was taking community creamer, right? That's exactly how I would push back. I would just buy. You know what? I'll buy a case. Here's a case of creamer. I'll just leave it out for everybody since everyone's all up in arms over me stealing the creamer. But that's just me. I have a little bit of a vindictive streak behind me. I don't deploy it very often.
Now, if I find another bottle of creamer in the fridge and it's a different brand, then I'll know it was you because we talked about it.
Yeah, John. The key distinction here is that you've already got community coffee. So yeah, if it's not marked, I could see where somebody would maybe dig into an unlabeled one, thinking it was provided as well. It is a gray area, but it really depends upon the culture of your company because different places do it differently. So it could be somebody new, could be somebody a guest, or somebody desperate. But yeah, going forward, mark it, then you're good.
Morning, guys. I once had a problem with food in an employee refrigerator. I had a sandwich that disappeared every single day for about a week, so I brought in a bologna and hand soap sandwich. Found it in the garbage with a bite out of it, and that was the last one that got stolen.
So I would be curious how long ago that happened, because I feel like if you were to deploy that tactic now, like you're just opening yourself to a lawsuit. You could potentially have poisoned somebody by going and doing that.
Hi, John. I'm an expert on the coffee creamer in the office issue. There are lots of coffee creamers in the refrigerator in my office. The consensus is, and the culture is, that anyone can use anyone's coffee creamer. It doesn't matter whether your name or initials on it. It's a free-for-all.
What?
I go through a lot of half and half in my office. I wish other people will contribute. They often don't. But that's the way it is. So just deal with it, or you're just going to have high blood pressure and worry too much.
Oh, I do not accept that. I do not. That the culture is anybody and anyone, regardless of a name or not, can take the creamer. No, I'm sorry. I cannot. I would quit.
The thing is, that's not something we do here at iHeart. I've been here for a year. This is the first time this has come up. So I get what you're saying, but this isn't quite the same.
Yeah, this is also the last time that Sam brings up anything personal as we kick off the show. I got an email from a friend of the show, Mary Justice at iHeartRadio.com. She says, I work at work. We have a company that provides biweekly service. The gentleman is in and out in a hurry. In our kitchen area, we had some small bags of Cheetos. He's helped himself to them the last 2 visits. He started coming in before start time. I guess he doesn't realize that he's on camera. But if you have a box of sample packages out there, I think that the protocol would be that typically you can go and take one. Right? It's not like I would assume that was community. Well, we used to have a whole, before we started the remodel here at Twin Cities News Talk, there was the common knowledge was that we had tables that were set up. There was like 3 or 4 of them. Mm-hmm. If anything was left on the table, it was fair game.
Absolutely.
Often people would go into the vending machine. They'd get multiple items. They didn't want the peanut M&Ms, and they would just leave it out for somebody else to take. And so that had always sort of been the standard. Now, that's changed right now because we're remodeling, and we don't have that circumstance anymore. I remember getting into an argument with Drew, may he rest in peace, my best friend and former host here on the show, who we lost back in 2022. Somebody had put a flat screen TV in the break room on a dolly. And I said that it was up for grabs. And Drew was like, no, it's not. I go, it's in the break room. It's been there for 2 or 3 days. Mm-hmm. It's in the location where typically items are put. It's up for grabs. And sure enough, it was. And subsequently, he took it home.
Oh, there you go.
Once we determined it was. Although it turns out that it was broken. So there was that.
That sounds about right.
All right. We will get back to more of your talkbacks. I have audio to share of President Donald Trump from the Rededication 250 from over the weekend. Protests continued outside the city church in St. Paul, although things had toned down quite a bit. And it speaks to the power of when these videos of these lunatics go viral and why it's important to continue to expose this. Plus, despite the push on assault weapons ban, the gun package appears to be dead as the legislative session comes to a ceremonial close later on this morning. It's all coming up on Twin Cities News Talk at AM 1130 and 103.5 FM.
They have what's called a Trump derangement problem. Have you heard about that problem?
John Justice, mornings on Minnesota's Morning Home for the Truth. AM 1130, FM 103.5, and on iHeartRadio.
From the Choice Bank Traffic Center.
Good morning. We have no accidents at this time. They cleared a crash on 169 northbound at Rockford Road. On 94, traffic slow eastbound from Highway 610 to Maple Grove Parkway. Highway 169 slow northbound from Highway 101 to Old Shakopee. I'm Maria Arnold, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Newgate School, changing lives for over 45 years. Make that unused car part of your spring cleaning. Donate your vehicle to Newgate School to fund vital education and a fresh start for a local student. The entire process is fast and incredibly easy. Change a life today at newgateschool.org.
Mini Leaf was out in the wild at a couple of different events over the weekend. I just want to say thanks on their behalf to the friends of the show that went by and said hi to Eric and the fantastic people over at Mini Leaf. Again, I want to encourage you, head on over to the website, MINNELEAF.com, and there you can see all of the fantastic Mini Leaf products, including the night gummies that, again, give me a good night's sleep, just like last night, every single night. I drift off to sleep quickly after taking one of the night gummies, sleep soundly, waking up with the alarm and feeling refreshed. You can get Mini Leaf products at Pop Mama's in Mendota Heights and Edina. Also, the veteran-owned Warrior Garden in St. Paul and Greenleaf Depot, of course, in Savage. And right now at the website, MINNELEAF.com, you can still take advantage of free shipping available at minileaf.com. As a matter of fact, I was on the website over the weekend. There's a lot of items that are discounted as well that you can take advantage of. Get yourself the night sleep gummies, the fun gummies, the spooky Mini Leaf tonics, the delicious chocolates, the triple diamond pain cream. Free shipping available right now. Taste happy at MINNELEAF.com. That's minileaf.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it. by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers, believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. You can always find people who are helping. Thank you to all the first responders who put their lives in danger to help us when my brothers and sisters need them. We look out for the helpers because they look out for us. Thank you, first responders! Thank you, first responders!
Help us help first responders in your community today. Go to firstrcf.org to learn more.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
Settled uneven concrete can be a hazard and a liability at your home or business. Hi, I'm John Lamore, owner of Expert Concrete Raising. We raise settled concrete using polyurethane foam. Polyurethane foam is a high-density, lightweight material that offers a more permanent solution than mud jacking. As a second-generation family-owned business with over 18 years of experience, we are your go-to for all your concrete raising needs. For a free estimate, go to expertconcreteraising.com. That's expertconcreteraising.com.
We're kind of in a time crunch.
As soon as possible. Now.
Fast.
More and more people are saying yes to a guaranteed cash offer on their house because speed is everything. Get your guaranteed cash offer and a fresh start today at chrislindahl.com.
Terms and conditions apply.
It's that time of year again.
Wait, couldn't any time be that time of year?
Whoa, that's deep.
The time Corey is pondering is air conditioning tune-up time, or as we call it, comfortization.
Wow, mind-blowing.
Our comfortizations are so transformative
Yes.
and so thorough, we guarantee no breakdowns all summer.
It's the truth. Comfort matters.
Schedule now at comfortmatters.com.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply in Minnetonka takes pride in their Midwestern roots and also in the quality of beef they offer their customers. That's why Northern Fire is excited to carry delicious Midwestern Wagyu beef from Fellers Ranch, Minnesota and South Dakota raised, dry aged, crazy marbling on premium beef cuts that Fellers delivers fresh to Northern Fire. Midwestern Wagyu with a local story. That's Fellers Ranch, and you can find it at Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply in Minnetonka. NorthernFireBarbecue.com.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Plumbers, today will be a good day. You will be profitable. Your clients will be nice. No one will stand over you and tell you how to fix the thing they actually hired you to fix. You will also feel at peace after switching to Progressive, America's #1 commercial auto insurer. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, #1 commercial auto insurer from the NAIC's 2024 National Premium Data.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250, micro, to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
2026 is setting up to be an interesting year in Minnesota politics. John Justice has it covered every morning on Twin Cities News Talk.
Maybe the creamer thief is Sam Sansevier.
No, only because... First off, I couldn't see her doing that. Second, I don't think she does coffee.
She's also been here long enough where I think she knows, the etiquette a little bit better.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that, Sam. Yeah. Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130, 103.5 FM. Just have a few more comments we want to share this morning. Sam had a bit of a rough, I want to say weekend, but I know you were frustrated this morning. There was questions about the parking ramp, of which I had them too, on whether or not it was or wasn't closed. And also your suspicions were confirmed that somebody was using your sweet cream. And it's specialized to sweet cream as well. Coffee creamer. You marked the bottle, and sure enough, somebody had been taking it. And so we've been basically asking for your thoughts on workplace etiquette and protocol relating to what can you take and what can't you take.
Right.
Again, I think that more than likely people just believe that it's community creamer if it wasn't marked. I wouldn't still do that, right? But I think there's some assumptions with that. Let's get to a few more of your comments from the iHeartRadio app.
So we have a specific table at my work that I set up many years ago that I called the take it or leave it table. And you can put anything you want on it. Stuff from home, stuff that's obsolete from work that you don't necessarily want to throw in the trash, or unwanted treats. And it can be open to literally anyone to take it or leave an item.
That might be something for a Freedom Friday, because I imagine that a lot of businesses have done something similar to that. And I'm wondering if there's ever been a circumstance when it's gotten out of control and people just started bringing in all their random junk and throwing it on the free-for-all table. Mm-hmm. You'd be limited in terms of space, but...
With the millions that you make, you're worried about coffee creamer. Holy cow.
Well, I'm not worried about it. Sam's worried about it, but you're right. With my salary, I should probably buy you some more.
If I made millions of dollars, man, I wouldn't have a full-time job after this.
What's wrong, buddy? Someone at work ate my sandwich.
Well, what did the police say?
My Thanksgiving leftover sandwich. I can't believe someone just ate it.
Ross, it's just a sandwich.
Just a sandwich? Look, I am 30 years old, okay? I'm gonna be divorced twice and I just got evicted. That sandwich was the only good thing going on in my life. Someone ate the only good thing going on in my life.
Sam, just put it in another container and mark it as breast milk. Nobody will drink it then.
Okay, no. So first off, why would there be a container of breast milk in the fridge? That would be the first question, which I think brings up a whole host of other issues where HR define that.
And then I just picture like Chris Carr, or, like even later, say like Dave Ryan, right? Just me pouring, the breast milk into my cup. Like, hey guys, how's it going?
And do not put it past somebody to go and drink that as well.
Yeah.
We work in radio after all.
I don't think Homelander works here.
I just, I was wow. Nice poll, and I'm sad that I know the reference.
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that tampering with food or drink is a felony.
Yeah, maybe you can get them locked up. Maybe we can go that route.
If it's French vanilla creamer, then it's fair game. I don't care what you say.
No. I know. As a matter of fact, especially with it being fancy flavored creamer, it should be less fair game if it's fancy. Because if it's work bought and it's community, then it's going to be generic, and that's just kind of the stereotype.
Good morning, John and Sam. In my office, meaning my work truck that I travel in, there is no creamer, so nobody can steal it. But nobody is just me anyway.
Okay, you know what? That is the quintessential in the middle of this whole conversation.
You're fascinating to talk to.
We're talking about people stealing creamer, not people that don't use creamer.
Good morning, John. What you need to do is get a really crappy brand of creamer, put it in there for a little while until people try it and they hate it and they never touch it again.
I still think the best idea is, and thank you for the suggestions, is just to mark it and then move on. I was thinking, you should put it in a shampoo bottle, but the problem with that is, one, you probably never get the shampoo taste out of the bottle itself, and then two, why would there be a shampoo bottle in the fridge? Somebody would probably just assume it's creamer and take it anyway. So
exactly.
Thank you all for playing this morning. Thousands of people streamed onto the National Mall for a day-long prayer rally on Sunday, billed as the rededication of our country as one nation under God. Against the backdrop of the Washington Monument, worship music blared from the stage that made clear the event's Christian focus. Arched stained glass windows set to underneath grand columns resembling a federal building depicted the nation's founders alongside a white cross. President Donald Trump actually read from a passage of scripture in a video that was shown at the rally. I have the audio of that.
Thus Solomon finished the house of the Lord and the king's house, and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Lord, and in his own house he prosperously effected. And the Lord appeared to Solomon by night and said to him, I have heard your prayer and have chosen this place for myself for a house of sacrifice. If I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Now my eyes shall be open and my ears attent to the prayer that is made in this place. For now I have chosen and sanctified this house, that my name may be there forever, and my eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually. And as for you, if you will walk before me, as David your father walked, and do according to all that I have commanded you, and shall observe my statutes and my judgments, then will I establish the throne of my kingdom according to as I have covenanted with David your father, saying, there shall not fail you as a man to be ruler in Israel. But if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my commandments, which I have set before you, and shall go and serve other gods and worship them, then will I pluck them up from the roots out of my land which I have given them, and this house which I have sanctified for my name will I cast out of my sight, and will make it to be a proverb and a byword among nations. And this house which is high shall be an astonishment to every one that passes by it, so that he shall say, why has the Lord done thus to this land and to this house? And it shall be answered, because they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, and laid hold on other gods, and worshipped them and served them. Therefore has he brought all this evil upon them.
I have $1 million idea. You ready?
What's that?
The Bible, audiobook, narrated by Trump.
He's got nothing else to do. Why not?
Good morning, and I love your show.
You could probably get AI to do it pretty quickly. As a matter of fact, there's got to be a way where you can already do that. That's the real $1 million idea with AI, is just create your own audiobook and have it voiced in whatever individual you want it voiced by.
You know, John, I've heard of a current talk show radio host who did a Trump impression once. Maybe we could get them to do the audiobook.
It's so funny that clip still keeps popping up on my randoms on my phone. One of these days I'll share it with you. That was all a part of the Rededication 250 on the National Mall over the weekend. The conservative Christian lineup featured guests who often argue the United States was founded as a Christian nation, a narrative disputed, according to the piece here from Newsmax, by many historians and other religious traditions. Many in the crowd wore Trump hats and patriotic colors, joining the festivities under a sweltering sun. Listen, it's this disputed notion by historians that we were founded as a Christian nation. First off, the whole gathering for the event over the weekend is a necessary contrast with the leftist gatherings, the rallies, and the protest, of which we'll talk about here in just a moment. But when it comes to the nation's founding, even if you want to argue that America was not founded as a Christian nation specifically, you simply cannot deny the Christian religious influence in the crafting of our norms of society and our laws as well. Now, progressives during this event did stage counter-programming. Among them were the Freedom from Religion Foundation, which advocates for a separation of church and state, and the Christian organization Faithful America. On Thursday evening of last week, the Interfaith Alliance projected protest slogans onto the exterior wall of the National Gallery of Art. Democracy is not theocracy, said one, and others said the separation of church and state is good for both. And yet, this weekend, we still had leftists that were using Trump and ICE and the government as a catalyst to continue protesting the city's church in St. Paul. However, there were some changes. Liz Collin and Alpha News posted this over the weekend, that the protests did continue outside the city church in St. Paul. Church members said there was no profanity yelled this week. Right? Also, no dimdos were in sight on scene. Somebody was walking around in a pickle costume though, so I don't know what that's about. The people who are paying them must have told them to tone it down, one church member told Alpha News. No, I mean, listen, that might be the case, but I really think that this is relevant because it comes a week after that lunatic protester went viral with a journalist, independent journalist, who was documenting the ongoing protests and talked to this woman who apparently some of our friends of the show was aware of. And she was putting away the items in her car, talking about pedophiles and children, and she had the dimdos in hand, cursing up a storm. No, I think that the exposure of that mentally challenged individual, in my opinion, that lunatic, ended up having an impact, and the protesters decided to tone things down. Hopefully it means that it's the beginning of the end of their stupid protest outside of the church. One more item of note regarding this. I wanted to share this with you. This comes out of ABC. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche got into a back and forth with ABC News, George Stephanopoulos, talking about Don Lemon and his storming of the city's church. Here's how that exchange went down on ABC.
So when do you believe that Mr. Lemon crossed the line from reporting on what was going on to criminal activity?
Conveniently missing from what you just showed, George, is the appellate court and a judge on the appellate court who said just a few days later there was clearly probable cause and it wasn't even a close question. So, and by the way, a grand jury, which is what our system has set up to determine whether probable cause exists, concluded that there was probable cause. That indictment is now public. Everybody in this country can pull it up and read for themselves and see what the grand jury found that Mr. Lemon did. I am not going to comment on the charges specifically because it's not appropriate, but it's interesting that we talk about the First Amendment right. You have a right of freedom of religion, which is just as important as any other right that we have. And George, I don't know if you've watched the videos or read the indictment about what it's alleged that Mr. Lemon did, but if anybody in this country thinks that is, quote, independent journalism, I would like to have a conversation with you. Now, he's obviously has a very good lawyer. He can raise defenses in court to the extent he wants to, but nobody in this country should feel comfortable storming into a church while it's ongoing and disrupting that church service and thinking that we're just going to stand by and let that happen, because there is a statute that does not allow that to happen. It doesn't matter if you happen to be a former CNN journalist. It doesn't matter if you're a rioter. It doesn't matter if you think you're peacefully protesting. You are not allowed to do that.
Again, that was the acting AG, Todd Blanche, talking with George Snuffleupagus on ABC News. Let's go back to the iHeartRadio app.
We are not a Christian nation, but we are a nation founded upon Christian values. And those Christian values led to scientific discovery, a democratic form of republic, and a culture that is based upon being kind. And those are Christian values.
John, the pictures from this weekend are so interesting because every one of them have masks on.
And again, she's referring to the protest outside of the city's church in St. Paul.
Most of them have costumes on. The one has a long wig on. It's like they're all trying to hide their identity. Like they're not really proud to be there. They're just collecting their paycheck and don't want to really be exposed and people to know who they are.
Well, it's what the leftists do. It's what they did over the weekend at the Capitol, where you had all of the very well-coordinated mother-led gun protesting groups. Was it the Moms Demand Action or whatever it is? They had all their pre-printed signs, all their T-shirts, yelling in everybody's face that walks on by, regardless of whether or not they're even aware if they support the efforts to hold the vote regarding taking away the rights of lawful gun owners that would do nothing to go and shore up the safety and security of our most vulnerable locations where our children go on an almost daily basis. So let's get into a bit of what transpired over the weekend. We'll start with how the weekend actually started. Friday, a Democrat-led sit-in stretched into a second day inside the House chamber. It wasn't really a sit-in, though. I'll give you details on this. Many individuals have documented just what a ridiculous style over substance theatrical display this was, and the individuals involved didn't even stay the entire time there. It was more like we hung out for a bit and then we left. Some of us went home, got a good night's sleep, came back. There was no sit-in for an individual the entire 40-some-odd hours. I do have a question that I want to pose to you as well, so we'll get to this in just a moment. Despite the efforts, though, there was little chance that the House would hold a vote by the end of the weekend, and subsequently they didn't. Lisa Dameth, angling for the GOP endorsement for governor at the party's convention later this month, suggested this week that the issue has already been settled, despite the Senate passing a gun violence prevention package that included a ban on assault-style weapons. The measure failed repeatedly in the tied House of Representatives, first in a public safety committee in February, later in March when Republicans blocked the attempt to move the bill to the floor. There's been some 8-some-odd votes on this issue, all of which failed, which makes this whole ridiculous political theater by the DFLans even more absurd because the votes had been taken. Thursday evening, a similar procedural vote by the House DFL failed on a 67-67 tie after hours of tense and emotional debate. We talked about this at length with Representative Max Reimer on Friday's show. Here's the question that I have for you, by the way. I have said early on that the bills are introduced, said Dameth, that they will go through the committee process. I've held tight to that promise. Those bills did not continue to go through committee, fell along the party line vote. House Leader Zach Stevenson vowed to keep pushing the floor vote, calling it crazy that the bill can't even get out of the speaker's desk at this point in time. But again, it failed on multiple levels. But the individuals who were there doing the sit-in, doing that thing with my fingers that didn't really stick around the entire time. Representative Kim Hicks had this quote in the Fox 9 story, and this is the question that I had. Hicks said, "We were napping. The chamber has really nice couches. It's an opportunity to reflect. It's also an opportunity to feel like we're doing something, like we're standing up for something." What does that even mean? This is the question that I have for you. Drop me an email, justice@iheartradio.com. But I've heard it was like Dan the drunkard Wogelmont, the representative, posted a video talking about how he was reflecting on the gun violence. What is your takeaway when you hear somebody making a comment like that? Does reflecting carry any value to you at all? I don't believe I've ever heard Republicans using this terminology. Because I saw many of those DFLers during this sit-in saying, well, you know what, we were reflecting on everything that's transpired, on the gun violence, Annunciation Church. I'm curious what it is that what comes to mind when you hear somebody sitting in an elected position of power saying that in the middle of this sit-in, and it gives us an opportunity to reflect. I know what I feel, and I'll share that coming up, but I'm curious to get your thoughts. Leave us a talk back on the iHeart Radio app. Apparently, the reflecting didn't do a whole lot of good. The lawmakers did finish the major legislation by the midnight deadline. The gun reform bills were not passed. The GOP deserves a lot of credit for holding the line. We'll let you know coming up. We have audio to share from leader Harry Niska, the representative, regarding just what the GOP was able to accomplish and what they stopped the Democrats from doing. And again, we'll get to your thoughts on what does it mean when you hear a politician saying, it gave me an opportunity to reflect. Does it carry any weight with you at all? Hour 3 is coming up next here on Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and 103.5 FM.
John Justice, mornings on Minnesota's Morning Home for the Truth. AM 1130, FM 103.5, and on iHeartRadio.
From the Choice Bank Traffic Center.
Traffic is stop and go 35W northbound from the Burnsville split to County Road 42 and northbound from 46th Street to 36th Street with a stall in the right lane. 94 heavy westbound from Johnson Parkway to Highway 52. Eastbound slow Highway 610 to Maple Grove Parkway. I'm Maria Arnold, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Gens Ryan Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical. One call, two systems. Gens Ryan's BOGO is back. Buy an AC, get a furnace free. Buy an AC, get a furnace free. Call or visit GensRyan.com today.
You've worked so hard to build what you have. The next step is making sure it works just as hard for you. At Sandvold Financial Group, we focus on creating retirement strategies designed to support your lifestyle, protect what matters most, and help you move forward with confidence. Because retirement planning isn't just about getting there, it's about living well once you do. Having a plan in place can make all the difference in how you experience that next chapter. Does that sound like you? If you're ready to take that next step, please call 952-544-2837 or online. Visit sandvoldfinancialgroup.com today.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Sandvold Financial Group is in Minnetonka, 952-544-2837, which is separate from Osaic Wealth.
Window World has one of the best warranties in the industry. It even includes a glass breakage warranty. Call Window World before you spend too much on something else.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Your one stop for advertising? Call 844-844-iHeart.
Bad breath is a confidence killer. You could have the best outfit, the funniest jokes, but if your breath smells like the food you just ate, that's all people remember. Most gums and mints just cover it up. It's like spring perfume on dirty laundry. Zellman's Minty Mouth is different. It's the functional breath freshener that you swallow. Clinically tested to fight the toughest offenders, even garlic and onions. Go to Zellmans.com, that's ZELMINS.com, and use the code FRESH for 15% off your first order.
Inheriting a home can be a blessing, but also a burden. The upkeep, repairs, and selling process can feel overwhelming. Homestead Road is a Minnesota real estate leader, helping families sell the simple, stress-free way. They'll help you sell an inherited home as is, with no cleaning, repairs, showings, or realtor fees. For a personalized consultation on selling your inherited home, call Homestead Road at 612-662-1717 and feel the joy of selling stress-free.
If your house needs new windows, wouldn't it be great to get quotes on name brands like Marvin and Anderson, as well as local vinyl brands? For siding, how about quotes on James Hardy, LP SmartSide, steel, and vinyl? For roofing, asphalt brands like GAF and IKO, including Class 4 hail-rated options. If you want the full range of price points from top-rated contractors with no salespeople involved, go to GetMy3Quotes.com. That's the number 3, GetMy3Quotes.com.
Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply in Minnetonka takes pride in their Midwestern roots and also in the quality of beef they offer their customers. That's why Northern Fire is excited to carry delicious Midwestern Wagyu beef from Feathers Ranch, Minnesota and South Dakota raised, dry aged, crazy marbling on premium beef cuts that Feathers delivers fresh to Northern Fire. Midwestern Wagyu with a local story. That's Feathers Ranch, and you can find it at Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply in Minnetonka. NorthernFireBarbecue.com.
This report is sponsored by TruGreen. TruGreen, the easiest way to get a golf course quality lawn. Don't wait. Sign up at TruGreen.com and get your first application for $9.95. TruGreen, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. Let the pros do the work so you can enjoy your weekend. Hurry, offer ends 5/21. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Broadcasting on AM 1130, 103.5 FM, 100.3 HD2, and worldwide on iHeartRadio. This is the Twin Cities News Talk Station, KTLK AM, Minneapolis.
Hour 3 for a Monday. Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and 103.5 FM. A little bit later on in the hour, we'll talk about how difficult it is to claw back the money stolen here in Minnesota from the fraudsters. Also, just how brazen some of these fraudsters are. In the meantime, we're wrapping up the end of the legislative session. Annunciation shooting parents watched as the DFL staged a 39-hour sit-in for a gun safety vote. As Representative Mary Franson pointed out, though, regarding the local media coverage of people staying for a straight 37 hours, she says not really. A lot of members went home to sleep in their own bed and would wander in and out during the day. 0 people stayed for a straight 37 hours. Because they don't really stand for anything that they say they stand for. This is all just grandstanding. It's all about the election. It's all about the election. The truth of the matter is, it didn't matter to Democrats whether or not Republicans took a 9th vote on this draconian gun legislation. They were going to use it against the GOP either way. So they'll either say, we didn't take a vote, meaning in the way that they'll frame it, which is a lie. Because votes were taken. Some 8 votes were taken on this issue. It's Twin Cities News Talk. My name is John Justice. Glad you're with the show this morning. But if they had taken a vote, it would have failed along party lines, in which case they would have said they voted down protecting our children. In the meantime, you had multiple Minnesota DFLans saying that this was an opportunity to reflect while they staged their sit-in. So I was curious from you, what do you think of? What does it mean for you when you hear an elected official saying that whatever they're doing, the justification for it is in part they're reflecting on whatever the issue is?
2 words, John. Virtue signaling. They're really, really good at it.
Hey, John, I think the scariest part of this whole gun issue is that these grown adults in our legislature don't have any logic or reasoning skills. This is an easy issue. You have harsh penalties for criminals who commit crimes with guns. You don't create more laws that criminals will not follow and only hurt law-abiding gun owners.
Well, the bill itself was, you're right, and the bill itself was designed to fail. It didn't include anything necessary to shore up the safety of our most vulnerable locations where our children go. So this was pushed out. This was created in order to get it to fail so they can stage their ridiculous sit-in, have all the moms demand action, well-funded, well-t-shirted, all their pre-printed signs to go and block individuals from just moving about the Capitol halls over the weekend.
I guess when I think about reflecting, typically that means that I have changed my opinion on a matter. You know, after taking some time to reflect, I've decided that my opinion is now fill in the blank. You don't take time to reflect and then arrive at the same point and just dig your heels in. That's not reflecting.
Hi, it's Mark from New Brighton. No, politicians are not reflecting on anything. Generally, they're emoting. It's performative. That's what's going on, particularly on the DFL side. Essentially, they are putting on some sort of a warped morality play in which they're actually the moral people, which is, of course, absurd. Thank you.
Love this show. Anyway, reflection. To me, that's like a mirror. You are reflecting upon your own behavior and how it relates to if you've done good things or bad and how you yourself are going to make changes. With that, again, love your show. Have a great day.
Specifically to the Democrats and this particular issue of holding this stupid sit-in, the line that we were reflecting, it really is just, we have to say we're doing something. it speaks more to how little they're accomplishing than anything else. There's no reflecting that needs to be done. They already know their views on the matter. No amount of further thinking, sitting in the chambers, holding a sit-in is going to change any of that. But when they have to go and justify it, it's just words that they use in order to go and fill in that space when somebody says, why are you here? Well, we're reflecting. And they never get challenged on it, which is part of the reason why I wanted to bring it up in the first place.
Good morning, John. There were shootings back when they had the trifecta, but they didn't call this vote. Why? Because the representatives in the rural areas, especially up north, of their own party wouldn't have voted for it. This is all a Shakespearean play. This is what they do, and it's just to try to make themselves look better or Trump to look worse. That's all it is.
So the chants of hold the vote echoed through the Minnesota Capitol on Saturday. The DFL lawmakers and the gun violence prevention advocates rallied for action on a sweeping gun reform package that stalled in the House. And I'm working off of the version here to get to the details from Channel 5. And listen, that whole hold the vote thing was pretty stupid in and of itself. I mean, that can go both ways, meaning hold, stay, or don't vote, or take the vote. And I didn't see a lot of reflecting going on. I did see, as I mentioned, a lot of yelling and blocking of people attempting to move about freely in the Capitol. One poor couple, by the way, apparently had scheduled their wedding in the Capitol Rotunda this weekend. So I saw video footage of the bride and groom up on one of the top levels inside of the Rotunda, and down below were the throngs of well T-shirted and sign-adorned protesters yelling and screaming while this poor couple's up there trying to take their vows.
Ooh, that's bad timing.
Yeah, you should probably make sure you look at the legislative schedule before you go and schedule your wedding at the end of the session. I guess they assumed it would have been done by then. Representative Julie Green told the crowd that even a small reduction in gun violence would matter. What if we passed this and a 5% reduction happened, she said. We could have saved one student at Annunciation from being injured. It would have mattered. You don't know that. None of what they're proposing here changes the dynamics at all of what ended up happening on that horrible day. That's not how any of this works. And by that same logic, go the other way. Yeah, and if passed, what if it just harmed 2 to 3% of the individuals out there who respect your right to keep and bear arms? Law-abiding gun owners who now have access limited in terms of their firearms and their choice of how they want to protect themselves and their family, and now they're more vulnerable than they would have been before. You see, this argument can go both ways. The bill, SF 4067, included an assault weapons ban, scary-looking guns, limits on high-capacity magazines, restrictions on binary triggers and ghost guns, safe storage requirements, and funding for school-based mental health supports. And again, nothing to shore up security in our schools. Representative Samantha Sensor-Mura, who really had taken the lead as one of the biggest idiots on this issue over the course of the past week, called out the House leadership directly, saying, Speaker Demuth, open the drawer, take out the bill, hold the vote. I'm assuming she is a former theater kid. GOP leader, floor leader, Harry Niska, said Democrats are trying to tie, and we're tying, school safety measures to gun restrictions that do not have bipartisan backing. He said the DFL is refusing to separate areas of agreement from the more controversial gun provisions. They're not willing to work on those bipartisan solutions when it comes to school safety without conditioning it on gun bans, and this by design. And they know those gun bans don't have bipartisan support. It's really disappointing to see, said Niska. And he's genuine in his comments. I'll share with you some audio from the floor leader, Harry Niska, coming up in just a moment here on Twin Cities News Talk, because some credit needs to be given. House Republicans ended up stopping the Democrats' agenda, were able to push through on some pretty major tax relief provisions. We'll dive into this as the Minnesota lawmakers finish the major legislation. They did so by the midnight deadline, and today they'll be holding the ceremonial close to the session. It's all coming up on Twin Cities News Talk, along with your Talk Back of the Day, brought to you by Mini-Leaf just after 8:30.
John Justice, mornings on Minnesota's Morning Home for the Truth. AM 1130, FM 103.5, and on iHeartRadio.
From the Choice Bank Traffic Center.
Good morning. We've got an accident, Highway 36 westbound, that's blocking the exit ramp to Cleveland Avenue. 694 is heavy westbound from Silver Lake to 252. 394 slow eastbound from Highway 100 to 94. I'm Maria Arnold, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Ready to upgrade to the perfect sleep setup? Let Mattress Firm's sleep experts guide you to the perfect bed at the Memorial Day sale. Top brands, ideal comfort, score unbeatable deals on both. Mattress Firm. They make sleep easy.
Last week, state of Minnesota, the AG, ended up suing a company, Premium Home Services, for their deceptive practices. The lawsuit alleges that this home service company posed as local businesses online, charged for shoddy work, and unlicensed subcontractors with no work at all. Listen, this is a really good example of just how there are companies out there that want to take advantage of you, especially when you need services for your home. Also, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of those companies that you used to depend upon, that you could trust to handle the services on your home, they're not local anymore. They may have been in the past, but they've moved on. They've been purchased by outside corporations, and they're no longer offering that local service. It's John Justice, and I say all this because Erickson Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, this is the company that you can absolutely trust. It's the company that I trust and that your neighbors trust as well. They're locally owned, family owned, with licensed experts across all the major trades, even safety and security, but gas, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, they're going to be able to handle all of it. And you're going to get a fair assessment. Their technicians are non-commissioned, so the recommendations you get are honest. They'll tell you what work may or may not need to be done, how it can save you a lot of money now by taking care of some smaller issues before they become bigger issues. I'm taking advantage of their I Heart My Home Club. It's a full home mechanical analysis, and that's exactly what they give you. They're expert technicians. They come in, they take a look at your home, and then they tell you, hey, here are some areas where you can go and either deal with some issues before they become dangers or take care of issues now so that you don't have to deal with them and they're more expensive in the future. iHeartErickson.com is their website. You can give them a call today at 763-783-4545. But this is the home service company you can trust. Erickson Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical. iHeartErickson.com or 763-783-4545.
Luther Kia of Bloomington wants to help you get in your new car today. It's the Summer Sticker Sales Event going on right now at Luther Kia of Bloomington, where qualifying vehicles have an additional $750 summer sticker incentive. And we have 30 new Kia vehicles that qualify. Get special deals right now on the Kia Niro, Sportage, Sorento, and the Kia Carnival at Luther Kia of Bloomington. Good weather is finally here. Start shopping today at LutherKiaofBloomington.com. Again, that's LutherKiaofBloomington.com.
So many people are living every day with pain that they just think they're stuck with it. It is what it is, but it doesn't have to be. I want to tell you about a letter I got from Oregon, a guy named George, and his Relief Factor story. George, hardworking guy, spends 10 hours a day in a garbage truck. Tough job, made even tougher because he's dealing with a sore right knee that just wouldn't bend. But here's the amazing part. George started taking Relief Factor, and it changed his life. And he said in his letter to me, and I quote, "I can bend my knee again with very little pain." I can relate to George. There was a time when I wondered if I could continue working because my pain was so bad. If you're living with aches and pains, see how Relief Factor, a daily drug-free supplement, can help you feel and live better every day. Give their 3-week quick start a try, $19.95. A few weeks, even days, you'll feel the difference that Relief Factor can make in your life. You don't have to be stuck living with the pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4, RELIEF.
Bad breath is a confidence killer. You could have the best outfit, the funniest jokes, but if your breath smells like the food you just ate, that's all people remember. Most gums and mints just cover it up. It's like spring perfume on dirty laundry. Zellman's Minty Mouth is different. It's the functional breath freshener that you swallow. Clinically tested to fight the toughest offenders, even garlic and onions. Go to Zellmans.com, that's ZELMINS.com, and use the code FRESH for 15% off your first order.
In this edition of the Marketer's Report, Chris Eppel, head of marketing for the Americas, Harman JBL, weighs in on the importance of audio.
It's been amazing over the last couple of years to see what's happened with audio. We've doubled our investment in the last 2 years in the audio space. We find it to be highly critical to our business.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
Struggling with mortgage payments? Facing foreclosure? Selling your home shouldn't add to your stress. Homestead Road buys homes in any condition. You make no repairs, have no showings, and pay no realtor fees. You'll get a no-obligation offer and can close quickly. Sell your home the easy way and get the fresh start you deserve. For a personalized consultation, call Homestead Road at 612-662-1717 and feel the joy of selling stress-free.
This Memorial Day, take a moment to honor the Minnesota service members who gave their lives in service to our nation. On Sunday, May 24th, please join the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs for special ceremonies at the state veterans cemeteries in Duluth, Little Falls, Preston, and Redwood Falls. Live music begins at 1:30 and the program starts at 2 p.m. Come remember the fallen, support their families, and join your community in this meaningful tribute. Attend a Memorial Day ceremony at your state veterans cemetery. Remember their sacrifice, honor their legacy.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250, micro, to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
This report is sponsored by The Yard. Transform your outdoor space with maintenance-free outdoor patio furniture from By The Yard. Made in Minnesota from recycled materials and backed by a 35-year warranty. Shop the showrooms in Jordan, Woodbury, and Maple Grove. With By The Yard, life is better outdoors.
I'm Michelle McPhee, and in my new podcast, Kingdom of Fraud, I'm unraveling the strangest criminal alliance I've ever reported on. A polygamist from Utah, and an LA Armenian businessman.
$1 billion fraud.
But how long can this alliance last?
Is somebody coming after me?
Search Kingdom of Fraud on iHeartRadio, America's #1 podcast network, and the Webby Podcast Company of the Year.
Sandvold Financial Group, bettering lives through holistic financial advice.
Have you heard the news? Trump returns from China.
We've made some fantastic trade deals.
Texas carries out its 600th execution since bringing back the death penalty.
Let's really be pro-life and abolish the death penalty in Texas.
Broadcasting on AM 1130, 103.5 FM, 100.3 HD2, and worldwide on iHeartRadio. This is the Twin Cities news talk station, KTLK AM, Minneapolis. He's guaranteed to be live, guaranteed to be local. John Justice, weekday mornings on iHeartRadio and Twin Cities News Talk, guaranteed human.
Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130, 103.5 FM. Thanks for joining the show this morning. Remember, if you're listening on the iHeartRadio app, check out your app store and make sure that you have updated the app. They're always adding new features to enhance your listening pleasure. Also, make a Twin Cities News Talk #1 on the preset function. It's been around for a while. We'd appreciate that. And, of course, you can leave us a talkback. Press the microphone. Leave us a 30-second message. We love playing those back on the air.
Good morning, John. So we have Democrats saying if this bill just reduced gun violence by a small amount, that would be great. Sure, it would be. It would also be great if Tim Walz would have given enunciation or the security he had requested. The shooter would have maybe found out, hey, there's an armed person in this church.
Yep.
I'm not going to go shoot it up. The trans shooter admitted they attacked the church because they knew there wasn't going to be anybody armed there.
Yep.
It's all garbage.
Yeah, it's all one big distraction. It's all one big distraction. That they just want to be able to spoon feed to their broken base of brainwashed supporters. State lawmakers were in and out of floor sessions between noon and midnight yesterday. Earlier in the day, working off a version here from Channel 5, they passed several bills aimed at preventing fraud, as well as bills related to commerce, education, cannabis, and other areas. Both the House and Senate also passed another anti-fraud bill, this one requiring more electronic visit verification, EVV, for Medicaid programs, especially those services for disabled Minnesotans who receive care at home. Both chambers also passed a bill to modernize computer equipment and software that counties use to verify human services funding. Much of that equipment is so outdated that it's difficult for counties to detect fraud when it happens. Next, in the next half hour of the show, we'll get into why it is so hard to get back the stolen Minnesota dollars from you. And I'll give you the short version. For as much as these programs are designed to be easy to commit acts of fraud, it's also designed to be really difficult to get that money back. The biggest and most impactful legislation was passed by the House and Senate in the last 2 hours of the legislative session. That includes the $205 million in funding to shore up HCMC's finances this year and $500 million reserve account that HCMC and other distressed hospitals and health systems can draw from in future years. We talked with Representative Max Reimer about this on Friday. And there are some stipulations made in order for HCMC to receive these finances. None of this just sits right with me. They've done this to themselves, and I understand the importance of the hospital system. I get it, how crucial it is. I just have a really difficult time getting on board with just throwing millions of dollars at the problem unless we know for sure that they are going to straighten things out on their end. Again, as we talked about on the show, they spent millions of dollars on these DEI initiatives even after the Trump administration, when it essentially banned these practices from taking place. So I hope that those are gone at a bare minimum. There's also the $254 million to reduce the license tab rates for 1 year, bringing the tab fees down bringing down the tab fees due after January 1st, 2027. Let me share this audio with you. This is leader Representative Harry Niska, breaking down how they turned the Tide House into real leverage for Minnesota taxpayers. And this is a moment, in my view, where the Republicans can take a bit of a victory lap over what they were able to accomplish and stop the DFL from pushing forward on during the legislative session.
Thank you, Speaker Demuth. And, this deal and the work that we're finishing up over the next few days really puts an exclamation point for Minnesotans on how much better they are with some Republican voice in Minnesota state government, even with just a tie in the Minnesota House compared to what Minnesotans had to deal with in 2023 and 2024 with a Democrat trifecta. Instead of continued growth in government spending and in the cost of government and fraud going out the door, and higher costs on Minnesotans, what we heard from Minnesotans and what we delivered for Minnesotans is accountability for the fraud that's happening in Minnesota state government and affordability by reducing the cost of government on Minnesotans. Our House File 1, our highest priority bill, was to create an independent office of Inspector General because we had seen the way that the executive branch under Democrat control had failed to hold fraudsters accountable and those within government accountable for enabling fraud. That was a huge priority for us. We appreciate the fact that the Democrats in the Senate were willing to make that a priority, but we had to fight tooth and nail against, we know the governor was trying to slow that down, and we know Democrats in the House were trying to slow that down, and eventually they heard from Minnesotans that they demand accountability, and we were able to get that done. That's part of this end of session negotiation, as well as important things to make Minnesota more affordable for the costs that have been imposed on them by the Democrat trifecta. Most notably, the increased property taxes that resulted from more mandates being pushed down to local governments, along with not having the tools to deal with those mandates. We have delivered property tax relief in this deal, as well as relief from the increased car tab fees that the Democrat trifecta also pushed through in 2023 and 2024. Those were two of our biggest priorities, and we were able to do it without raising taxes, finding ways to reprioritize and cut spending in other areas, and that was really important. So as Minnesotans go into the fall, into this next election season, I think it's important for them to understand how Republicans having a seat at the table, having a voice here in St. Paul, have been able to deliver results on accountability for those who are committing fraud and affordability to make your lives better. Those were our top priorities, and we were able to deliver on them. So we're happy to take questions.
And giving credit where credit is due. This all demonstrates the importance of election outcomes. Elections have consequences. And if it hadn't been for the fact that we had a tied House, the Democrats would have rammed through, just like they did during the trifecta, every little progressive item that they had, which would have ultimately robbed you of freedoms, costed you more money, enabled more fraud to occur. Republicans were able to put a stop to that. And they did a great job considering the fact that they didn't have a majority. All they had was the tied House. And they were still able to accomplish everything that Harry Niska just laid out. Dozens of gun control bills were introduced, and none of them passed.
Oh, hell yeah.
So credit where credit is due. Now the Republicans have to go and spread this message as we look to get as many individuals as possible out voting when voting season begins, right? Which is what, like at noon today? Is that when we start voting? Coming up, your talk back of the day. Also, immigrant businessmen who went from bankruptcy to multi-millions now under Medicaid fraud. A story from Alpha News, investigative report, including audio of the guy that conducted all this fraud. He had his own YouTube channel called Immigrant Money. We have the audio from this to share. If you follow me on X or at TC News Talk, you can watch it there as well. I will share it with you coming up, and we will get into how fraudsters owe millions of dollars but pay back very little. It's the example of why it's so hard to get back the money that's been stolen from us here in Minnesota. If you missed the reference point to that new term, you got to listen to the first hour of the show here on Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130 and 103.5 FM. Don't go anywhere.
John Justice, mornings on Minnesota's morning home for the truth. AM 1130, FM 103.5, and on iHeartRadio.
From the Choice Bank Traffic Center.
Good morning. We have delays 94 westbound from Johnson Parkway to Highway 52, westbound 35W to 394. 94 eastbound slow from Maple Grove Parkway to Weaver Lake, and eastbound from Olson Memorial to Hennepin Lindale. 494 slow westbound 24th Avenue to 12th Avenue. I'm Maria Arnold, and that's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Choice Bank. Choice Bank takes a people-first approach to business banking. Their bankers take time to understand your business and bring clear guidance, local decisions, and direct access when questions come up. Learn more at bankwithchoice.com. Member FDIC. And always people first. Banking second.
Gardeners, yard care enthusiasts, hobby horticulturalists. The yard care industry hid a horrible secret from us. They sold us toxic chemicals and called it green. It's time for Sunday. Just soybean proteins, iron, seaweed, molasses. Real ingredients that make your soil thrive. Sunday blends clean ingredients with real science for a yard that's thicker, greener, and healthier. Get your custom Sunday yard plan for spring at GetSunday.com.
Don't list, call Chris.
Chris Lindahl, and here's how my guaranteed cash offer works. We visit your house and make you a cash offer on the spot based on its current market value and condition. When you say yes to the offer, you don't have to do anything to the house. Just pick your closing date. You can leave stuff behind, and you can even stay in the house for free after you close. The smart sellers bypass the growing uncertainty in the world and the risks of the open market and get a big red check and a fresh start in life. No fees, commissions, or stress. Apply for your guaranteed cash offer today at chrislindahl.com.
Hello? Oh, hey, sorry to bother you, but I figured I'd try the back door since that's where the real opportunity is.
What do you mean?
Well, I noticed your backyard has more potential than it's getting credit for.
All right, I'm listening.
Picture a clean, beautiful paver patio right here. A place for the grill, a table, a couple of chairs, and we can tie everything together, huh? Driveways, walkways, concrete work, even landscaping.
Contact MN Pavers today at mnpavers.com because sometimes opportunity shows up at your back door.
Some things are easier said than done, like packing your carry-on and getting everything to fit. Whew. Other things are easier done than said, like getting $500 cash back when you open a new TrueStone checking account, so you can bag back some cash back to stash in your backpack. Hard to say, but easy to do, because our digital switch kit makes setting up your new TrueStone checking account practically effortless. Easy and $500? It's true, because we're TrueStone. Open by December 31st, and within 60 days, set up a $5,000 direct deposit and e-statements. Membership required.
Save big money at Menards. Menards is your paint destination, offering the selection you need to refresh your home in one weekend. Pristine is Dutch Boy's most durable exterior paint and primer in one. It withstands the harshest weather conditions, and with its rain rinse technology, it will keep your home looking beautiful year-round. Save big money on Pristine exterior paint. Plus, view our weekly flyer on Menards.com and start your painting project today.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, Rubes, hedge your bets with an unbelievable summer fishing special at ballardsresort.com. This is no worries, world-class walleye fishing with lodging, meals, beverages, the works. Get on a heater and set the hook with a sweet summer fishing special at ballardsresort.com.
Around here, people still work hard, go to church on Sunday, and mean it when they say God and country. That's where Jesse Eben comes from. 7 generations of Wisconsin roots, raised in the North Woods, faith, hard work, and love of country. Jessie isn't a career politician. She's a wife, a mom, and a businesswoman who's fought to keep good manufacturing jobs right here in Wisconsin. A Christian conservative who knocked thousands of doors for President Trump, Jessie believes in America first, not as a slogan, but as a way of life. Fiercely pro-life, 100% pro-gun, deport all illegals, no tax hikes, period. Like you, Jessie Eben is sick of the swamp BS. She'll fight to ban politicians from trading stocks and becoming lobbyists. Authentic, one of us. Conservative Republican Jessie Eben for Congress. Northwoods PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NorthwoodsAction.com.
Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply in Minnetonka takes pride in their Midwestern roots and also in the quality of beef they offer their customers. That's why Northern Fire is excited to carry delicious Midwestern Wagyu beef from Feathers Ranch, Minnesota and South Dakota raised, dry-aged, crazy marbling on premium beef cuts that Feathers delivers fresh to Northern Fire. Midwestern Wagyu with a local story. That's Feathers Ranch, and you can find it at Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply in Minnetonka. NorthernFireBarbecue.com.
With iHeart, everything you hear is guaranteed human. That's why 78% of listeners trust their favorite radio host's product recommendations. If you manage a business or need to drive sales, that trust goes a long way. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. Again, that's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Sandvold Financial Group, bettering lives through holistic financial advice.
Sean Hannity, weekdays from 2 to 5. Hello. On Twin Cities News Talk AM 1130 and 103.5 FM. And on iHeartRadio with your smart speaker.
Morning, John. I know it's not Freedom Friday, but
right.
I just wanted to tell you that my husband and I finally got out to see Project Hail Mary yesterday, and it is really a wonderful movie. Just wondering, do you think they set it up for a sequel right away? Because we kind of decided they did. And we're hoping that they do. Have a great week.
If there is, it's going to be a long time. Because they probably won't do anything unless Andy Weir, the author of the book, writes another one. He says he has an idea, but he's far removed from writing it anytime soon. They're talking about taking his book Artemis, which I have not read, and turning it into a major motion picture. And I'm torn on whether or not I actually want a Project Hail Mary sequel, just because I love the first one so much. And it is a rarity for me to say that, by the way. You still haven't seen it yet, have you?
I have not, no.
It's out on digital now, by the way.
I saw that.
You know.
It's on my to-do list.
Did not watch it over the weekend. We'll watch it soon. I did watch it. I watched it last week again. I think it was like on Monday or Tuesday. It really doesn't matter. You know what? I'm just going to preemptively give this to myself.
You're fascinating to talk to.
Let's get to your Talk Back of the Day. Your Talk Back of the Day is brought to you by Minileaf and Minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com. Some of you might have just wrongly assumed that we were partaking in some amazing Minileaf products based off of some of the conversations earlier this morning. But if you missed it in the first hour, Sam was having some issues with somebody drinking his coffee creamer. So we had a rather large discussion based off of workplace protocol.
Mm-hmm.
When is it appropriate? When is it not appropriate to go and use somebody's creamer that is sitting in the fridge? Which brings us to the Talk Back of the Day, brought to you by Minileaf.
Well, you can narrow down the thief a little bit because men don't use creamer in their coffee. So it has to be one of the women in the office.
Okay, so that is your Talk Back of the Day, only because I want to push back on that and say...
You're fascinating to talk to.
Of course men use creamer in their coffee. Is that a... I've never heard that particular stereotype.
I haven't either.
Like, I understood when people gave me a hard time back when it was available for drinking Zima. Saying only women drink Zima, John, it's not a manly drink. That I will give you. But
there's so many jokes in there, John. I could just
let him go.
So, yeah,
just let him go.
It's you know what?
But no, real men can use coffee cream. Coffee
Who
creamer.
cares? Like,
yeah, I've never. Feel free to leave a talk back if you agree with the talk back of the day. I would love to hear from you and your justification. But in terms of having your man card stolen, I've never seen coffee creamer as a means to have your man card stolen. So I'm just saying. Just saying. All right, let's go here. A Cameroonian immigrant who built a multi-million-dollar home care empire in Minnesota and later shared his business playbook in a video titled How to Start a Healthcare Company Doing That Thing With My Fingers is now under investigation for fraud, according to state records. Arnold Kube, owner of the Woodbury-based home care agencies Metro Care Human Services and Home Sweet Home Minnesota, was issued temporary immediate suspensions on April 28th by the Minnesota Department of Human Services pending a Medicaid fraud investigation. In both orders, the DHS alleged, according to the story and the investigation from Alpha News, clients were not receiving services required under their support plans, including medication assistance. It's a tale old as time. It's how the fraud is conducted. In a recent interview, Kube argued there was no justification for suspending his license or withholding state payments, which he said began in December. This is damaging of my reputation in this community. This is targeting. This is bullying, Kube said in a recent Channel 5 interview. People use fraud everywhere to attack us with it. We are not the guys. He told Channel 5 that he has appealed the suspensions. He also told the outlet that he believes he's being retaliated against and that the quality of care for his patients has gone down because the state stopped payments. Now, Kube's public persona is built around a rags to riches story. He arrived in the U.S. as an asylum seeker from Cameroon in 2007. According to a Making It in Minnesota with My Fingers business profile in the Sahan Journal, Kube tried his hand at several businesses and ultimately failed, leading to a bankruptcy around 2014. He eventually entered Minnesota's healthcare industry and launched the Metro Care Human Services. One day, I got my first referral. I didn't know what to do, but I did the paperwork, and I asked a friend how to build the state. I got log-on information from the state. I set up an account, went to billing training. He told the outlet the company uses state and federal funding to provide housing alternatives for nursing home residents, people with disabilities, former prisoners, and other hard-to-house folk, he says. Now, later, he launched Home Sweet Home Minnesota, which acquires and converts properties into assisted living facilities. Oh, isn't that interesting? We'll get you set up. By 2022, the businesses reportedly generated a combined $3.7 million in revenue, with projections climbing to $5.5 million, according to the article. On a YouTube channel, Immigrant Money, that's the name of it, where the opening jingle, you know what, I'm just going to play it for you. Alpha News shared it. Like the music. This is bankruptcy to multi-millions in 5 years.
Immigrant money. I came from overseas now I got the money. Immigrant money.
You are hearing that correctly, by the way. It's saying immigrant money over and over again in the promo to this bankruptcy to multi-millions in 5 years, wherein this individual is shown drinking champagne, standing inside of his luxury home. The video goes on to describe him as a Twin Cities entrepreneur.
In this episode of Immigrant Money, we are talking to a Twin Cities entrepreneur that went from bankruptcy to multi-millions in just 5 years. Arnold Kube is the owner of 2 healthcare companies, MetroCare Human Services and Home Sweet Home of Minnesota. He sits down to talk to us about his fortune, how he does it, and how you can do it too. This is Immigrant Money with Steven Gang Gang.
He appears in a 2021 YouTube video titled "How to Start a Healthcare Company in Minnesota," where he talks about navigating the state programs and encourages viewers to pay him consulting fees to learn the business model. If I'm going to start the program from top to bottom, I'm going to charge you $10,000, he said. It's $10,000 to $15,000 to get the license where it needs to be. In another video, the 2024 Guide to Minnesota Healthcare Companies, it features him discussing the rapid growth of his own operations. When we first talked the last time, it was about 40 beds at the time, but now we're talking 91 beds. Throughout the interview, he encourages viewers to enter the healthcare business themselves, repeatedly promoting paid consultants and business coaching. Alpha News reached out to him for comment but did not receive a response. Alpha News also submitted questions to DHS seeking the total amount of taxpayer money paid to his 2 businesses, but the department did not respond before the time of the Alpha News publication. According to the Minnesota State Transparency Database, Home Sweet Home Minnesota alone has received nearly $3.2 million in taxpayer-funded payments since 2024. And now he is under a fraud investigation. We'll certainly follow this story with great interest. We do have several comments rolling in on our creamer question. We'll wrap up the show with that in just a moment here on Twin Cities News Talk. But first, I want to make sure we get to this. Why it's so difficult to get back the money stolen. Whether or not this individual did or didn't, we'll find out soon enough as the investigation unfolds. But since 2020, the Minnesota Attorney General's office has ordered over $13.3 million in restitution for Medicaid fraud. But less than 18% of that has been repaid. Despite probation conditions requiring repayment, many defendants fail to pay, leaving nearly $11 million outstanding. The Attorney General's office faces challenges, they say, in recovering these debts as the state law limits probation extensions and lacks the asset forfeiture tools available to federal prosecutors. So essentially, the system is designed to both be fraudulent. You don't have to commit an act of fraud, but if you wanted to, it could be really easy. And it's easy to get away with. Also, in my opinion, by design. So, according to the story from Fox 9. $11 million is still owed. They were following stolen Medicaid funding and tracking what happens after providers are convicted of fraud. Okay? So in this one circumstance, Fox 9 investigation said the outstanding debt ranges from $69 to nearly $1.7 million. Okay? In an interview with Fox 9, Attorney General Thief Ellison acknowledged it's difficult for prosecutors to recover those debts. For the person who just doesn't care and is trying to get away with wrongdoing, I think we need stronger medicine for people like that, said Ellison. In most Medicaid fraud cases, restitution is a condition of the defendant's probation. They're ordered to make a monthly payment, sometimes as low as $50, based on whatever they're able to pay. If a defendant fails to make regular payments, the probation can be revoked or extended. So we can go back to court and say, Judge, they haven't paid, said Thief Ellison. However, a defendant's probation can only be extended up to 2 years according to state law. Ellison acknowledged that probation can unfortunately end regardless of how much restitution is still owed. The Fox 9 investigators identified several fraudsters who were discharged from probation despite making few or even no payments. So in one case, Ali Ismail Warsame, several other co-defendants owed $667,000 plus to DHS and several private insurers. Warsame was convicted in 2022, 3 felony counts of aiding and abetting theft by false representation for running a Medicaid scheme involving personal care associates. This sounds awfully familiar as the Cameroonian immigrant and the immigrant money jingle. He was ordered to pay, as I mentioned, at least $50 a month, all while serving a 3-year prison sentence. But he was released from prison in May of 2024 to participate in a work release program. At that point, his payments were supposed to increase to $300 a month. But despite not making a single payment, Warsame was discharged from probation this past January, according to the state and court records. The legislature does need to increase the number of ways to make people pay back their restitution. That's according to Thief Ellison. Warsame was mandated to pay all restitution no later than 5 years after being released from custody. Most court orders include similar boilerplate language that requires restitution to be fully repaid before the end of their probation, regardless of how unlikely it might seem. Judges and prosecutors acknowledge it is mathematically impossible for some debts to be repaid. Judges have broad authority to allow defendants to make smaller, reasonable payments over much longer periods of time. You know, how many of these cases are just getting offloaded because they just have too many cases they're working through? How many of these activist judges just don't simply care? There was early on in my life, I just did not have a level of respect for money. I just didn't. At a very young age. Had a lot of debt that piled up. Thankfully, I changed my ways and am very proud of my credit score to this day. It took many years, right? I'm just being honest. But I can tell you, and you who have been through this, think about the harassment you get from bill collectors if you've ever had to go through not making a payment on something and having it go to collections, and the lengths that they will go to get that money back from you. Nowhere near what we're looking at in terms of the fraud, but you know how relentless they are in pursuing getting that money back. And yet here, a lot of this is just simply getting blown off.
Hey, John, you know, the way they should do it, and it would prevent this from happening in the future, is you go to prison until you return all the money.
Yeah.
So you better get all those people that you were helping make money behind the scenes to hustle on your behalf to recover all that money and get it in, or you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison.
Yeah, we've had several comments that have rolled into the iHeartRadio app all saying something very similar. If a defendant fails to make a payment for 2 months, the outstanding debt is supposed to become due immediately. While that doesn't increase the likelihood of the debt actually being repaid, it can trigger additional financial penalties. The court could move forward the debt to the Minnesota Department of Revenue for collection, and a collection fee of up to 25% may be charged. After that, the state has few tools to actually claw back the money. The U.S. Attorney's Office for Minnesota has seized homes, luxury cars, and designer jewelry, which helped them recover more than $65 million in stolen money that was supposed to help feed hungry children with the fraud that took place with Feeding Our Future. And while state law allows certain law enforcement agencies to seek asset forfeiture, it does not explicitly list the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit. We need clarity in a law that we have the jurisdiction to do it, and we need the resources to do it, said Thief Ellison. It's all lip service coming from Ellison. He's commenting on this now because this is an election year. He knows that he has to talk tough on it. The truth of the matter is there may not be much, and certainly now the legislative session is done, that can happen in terms of shoring up the ability to claw back this money. And really, the stopgap to all of this needs to go back to the start. We need to keep the fraud from happening in the first place.
Man, not having these fraudsters pay everything back is really getting me, because not only do they not have to pay anything back, really, but they barely get any jail time. Was that last one sentenced to 6 months or something? Ooh, I'm not going to lie. I'd spend 6 months in jail if I got $6 million.
Right. Hidden in an offshore account where they can't go and get to it. We want to tackle this problem. We should not have to worry about having to claw back the funds in the first place. We need to stop the fraud as it starts. And this is something that we'll cover extensively on tomorrow's show. All right, before we wrap things up, can real men use coffee creamer? The talkbackers have spoken.
I want to go against that talkbacker. Real men use coffee creamer. It's just of the variety that may have a little bit of juice to it, like an Irish cream that has an alcohol content. That's a great creamer. Have a great day.
I fear if you put that in the fridge, it really isn't going to last overnight. Just saying.
I'll lose my job pretty quickly, too.
Hi, John. Being a man, I do not normally put creamer in my coffee, but I will occasionally slide some Baileys in there.
Okay, no, you're not taking my question
Great
seriously.
show.
Yeah, thank you. You're not taking my question seriously. For crying out loud.
Hey, good morning, John and Sam. This is Mare from up north and commenting on the coffee creamer men, women topic. So I have my coffee black, no creamer, and my husband has Irish cream in his. So there you go. Have a great rest of the day.
In regards to the man card and the creamer situation, when I was 15, I was at deer camp with my grandfather, my dad, and his brothers. And I asked where the sugar and cream were at 4 o'clock in the morning to put in my coffee. And I was told that I could go back home and go trinket and trash shopping with Grandma at craft sales. This is deer camp. Men drink black coffee.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm all wrong on this.
I will say there's bigger things to worry about than whether or not men put creamer in their coffee. I'm just putting that out there. You can have your own opinions, you do you, all that, but I will continue to use my coffee creamer and I will enjoy it.
I'm a little bit surprised that I usually would associate coffee with being something that you kick your day off with, in which case there's a lot of early drinkers. Although, you know what, maybe, a little Irish cream with your coffee when listening to this show on a daily basis might actually be the right thing to do. That way you're not pulling all your hair out.
Don't give me ideas, John.
Poor Sam went back to get coffee a moment ago. He shows back up immediately. I'm like, what's going on? It's like they got a sales meeting going on. I didn't want to walk through in the middle of their sales meeting.
It would be the most uncomfortable, the coffee machine going while they're doing the meeting.
You know what, though? To bookend the show, what a perfect opportunity. Hey, everybody, really quick. Just really quick, I don't mean to stop you, but this sweet cream creamer is it's mine.
Right.
I would appreciate it if you have been partaking in it. I hope you enjoyed it, but no longer. Will you please leave it alone? This is my creamer. Thank you. To which you get a lot of people going, who are you?
Right.
Thanks for playing this morning, man. You're a good sport. Thank you for listening. If you missed any portion of the show today, be sure to check out the podcast available up on the iHeart Radio app. Tomorrow on the show, we'll, of course talk AI with David. Gartenstein Ross, get your questions in early, justice at iHeartRadio.com, or you can leave a talk back on the iHeartRadio app. Have yourself a fantastic day. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. You guys are the best.
From the Choice Bank Traffic Center.
We have delays on 35W northbound from Diamond Lake up to 94. 169 is slow northbound.